Could you just check if the like notes, it must have been uploaded some time back. Yeah, it's uploaded. Glad to know that, Shargun. Thank you. So just go through it. That will be something which will be greatly helpful for your preparation. All right. So in the previous session, we were discussing about the component of compassion, and in compassion, we were discussing about like misplaced compassion and how to inculcate compassion. So today, we were going to start with the component of tolerance, right? And this dimension of tolerance is something which is going to build your basics profoundly, right? So we will be reflecting upon what all segments can be like created via tolerance, all right, and how it is associated with your GS paper 1 as well, right? So first and foremost, we all can see the question which has been raised in the year 2011, sorry, 2021. So we all can see this given possibility associated with this given dimension. SME, please respond to Ravi. I think he needs to refresh or join again. There's some technical glitch he's experiencing now. So with respect to this tolerance, when we are going to start with the given dimension, we all can reflect that with this given question, which is raised by Eric Erickson. So we all can just the comment, yeah, chat box. So this is the dimension which all of us can reflect upon. It's written, life doesn't make any sense without interdependence. So this component of interdependence, it comes with tolerance. If you are tolerant, then only you can just appreciate diversity and you can coexist with plural communities per se. So it's written, we need each other, and the sooner we learn that, it is better for us all. Okay. So the sooner we learn, the better it is for all of us. That's what Eric Erickson said. So the focus was not associated with the dimension of who Eric Erickson is. The aspiration was primarily associated with the statement. You had to reflect upon the entire statement and the validity of it. Okay. Can we write about bipolar continuum? Bipolar continuum was associated with public and private relationship. That has nothing to do with the topic of tolerance, Ravi. So that will be unnecessary. All right. Now, so as we are stepping into the idea of tolerance, before we reflect upon the various subsegments, first I'll give you an overview associated with tolerance and what tolerance is all about. Um, so I hope all of you are aware that in your syllabus in GS paper 1 also, there is a topic called secularism and communalism. In GS paper 2, there is the topic associated with secularism once again. And in your GS paper 1, can you just do it open? I always go for open session. Okay. I didn't know. Oh yes, good, all good. So you can, yes, it is there in the preamble also when we are talking about the idea of justice and secularism. Again, when we are reflecting upon the given subcomponents pertaining to the larger picture of what all possibilities can be created. So if you remember, there was a question in medieval history that was asked, and it was associated with the question of syncretism. It said that how can we observe syncretism, the segments of syncretism in medieval history pertaining to Indian polity and Indian society. So there was a question related to the spirit of tolerance, connecting it with syncretism and medieval history in the paper of history. Similarly, there was this question associated with Indian society, where the question was that the spirit of love and tolerance has kept the Indian society evolve over the time period, and one more subsegment was associated with this given dimension. So the dimension of yes, tolerance is also one of the foundational values, Shweta. It was asked, I mean, it is there if you see the syllabus which was shared with you previously. In the foundational values, as you put a dash, after putting a dash, then you can see the elaboration of the foundational values which are put in the syllabus. There you can see tolerance is also incorporated. So no problem, even if you have not like reached medieval history. Syncretism literally means blending of the cultures. That's how you are able to understand. Okay, no problem, Rugna. I just hope that you are able to connect despite the heavy rains and the network issue. I just hope that things reach out to you well. Okay. Now, when we are talking about syncretism and the blending of culture, blending of history, blending of possibilities, blending of our existence, that is something which is witnessed by the way all of us, like, consume things, the way we dress up, the way we, like, for example, samosa. So, samosa is a food that has come up from Middle East when we speak of it. And it comes from the word sambusa, and sambusa was a meat patty, but in India we started stuffing it with potatoes, and that's how it, like, is a different dish over here. Similarly, we wear achkans and chudidar pajamas during the wedding ceremonies. The men wear it, or shararas and gararas. So that's also something which is due to the culture of syncretism. Even the usage of henna is also a byproduct of the culture of syncretism, because in eastern parts of India you could see that, the possibility of femina, have patience, I'll connect it with interdependence and you'll get an idea about it. Okay. So you can see that in eastern parts of India, women were more into application of alta, and from that, the possibility of usage of henna or mehndi is something which all of us can see is a transition in terms of what is the patterns of dressing up, or using things. We can also see the emergence of Urdu as a language is the language of syncretism. Similarly, when we are beyond Urdu, if we speak of various such sub segments, we all can connect this given dimension. Yes, we were correctly connected when we are like reflecting upon the term. So syncretism, which is a blend of the possibilities, it is like a byproduct. When two dimensions get blended, the byproduct, when we reflect upon the byproduct, that is something which can be associated with this topic. So now, as we are going to start with the dimension of tolerance, I will create something which is higher than tolerance, which is something stronger than tolerance, better than tolerance. So let us consider this as a scale of diversity, how diversity increases in a given society. So when we are speaking of diversity per se, we all can like associate it with, like, the basic level, tolerance. When tolerance is there, then you are accepting that there are plural communities existing in your society. They should adjust and adapt to each other and coexist with each other. Okay. So adjust, adapt, and coexist. Adjust, adapt, and coexist when we are speaking of it. Yes, beautiful, Kavana, the way you could connect it with like Bhakti and Sufi traditions that have taught love and tolerance. So, when we are speaking of tolerance, it helps us to adjust, adapt, and coexist. And that is how, like, you can connect it with the given idea of interdependence. Okay, when we are talking of interdependence. So, with adjustment, adaptation, and coexistence, you can strengthen interdependence. So, the interdependence between two communities can be further be strengthened when we are discussing about this given dimension. All right. As we further like reflect upon this given dimension, the negative aspect, when there is loss of diversity, there is intolerance. Intolerance. Intolerance can be both. It can be implicit, means hidden, more like a mental phenomena, and it can be explicit, where a person is loud, clear, and full of hatred. Okay. So when we are speaking of the implicit form of intolerance, it can be sometimes in the form of fundamentalist thoughts, fundamentalism. There is no harm in getting back to the fundamentals of your religion. The problem emerges when, in the name of the fundamentals of your religion, when a person starts propagating the idea that a religion, like a specific aspect of one religion, is better than that of others. So, when and other religions are inferior. So, fundamentalism may propagate a sense of superiority, that our religion is superior than that of others, and ethnocentrism. The same thing, when you are focusing on your own community and considering it to be better than the rest. Okay. So when you consider your ethnic community is better than the rest. Okay. So, and then you have a tendency to, hence, what happens? There is a tendency to look down upon other communities, look down upon other communities, due to which what will happen over the time period, it can manifest itself in the form of hatred manifests itself in anger, and anger can manifest itself in explicit forms, that is, it can be associated with communalism communalism which also articulates itself in the form of riots. Okay. So that's how you can connect with this given dimension. So intolerance, which further grows into, we can consider tolerance, and as it matures into tolerance, we can further consider that now, with respect to tolerance, what is the dimension associated with this? Chintan, you should not at any given time period lose your non-partisan attitude. Non-partisan means not having any political bias to any political party and shying away from making any political remark. Okay, we will be discussing about the possibilities pertaining to political attitudes with respect to when a party can become radical, and when it can become conservative, and when it can become we can consider moderate. So all those possibilities we will study academically, but you have to refrain from this overt language. All right, today's generation, there are some young bloods and love other tradition, and they marry the partner belonging to the community. Can we say it is a sign of tolerance and love? Yes, that's also a sign of tolerance and love, Femina. But when we say tolerance and love, it need not necessarily articulate into marriage. It is possible that you have the sense of benevolence, the sense of care, the sense of concern, the sense of respect towards other communities per se. Can we express it for communal, like Manipur riots? Manipur riots, yes, definitely. Like there is a visible sense of intolerance towards another ethnic community, because of which this problem can erupt, or it can articulate when we are speaking of it. Again, when we are further substantiating this given sub segment, we all can understand that the very possibility of tolerance as we are substantiating it. So tolerance, again, the intercaste marriages promotes tolerance. Yes, it does indeed. So when we are speaking of the dimension of explicit, means overt, when it is loud and clear. Okay, that's communal riots. So when we are speaking of the given dimension associated with tolerance, why I believe tolerance is not such a healthy word? Because see, even the NCRT standard 11th related to secularism, that in that book also you'll find the sentence that tolerance is good in the times of a post civil war like situation. If a country has been torn by a civil war, then in that situation, after the civil war, the level of tolerance is something which will maintain harmony and peace. But for long term situation, it is not tolerance that is considered as a virtuous condition. Because in tolerance, the problem is, now from here I am adding my insight, what the statement implied in the NCRT. So when we are exercising tolerance, you can see the word tolerant, like tolerance has the root word tolerant. Tolerant means to bear with, to adjust, to cope up. That means even if you don't like a specific community or a person, you're just trying to adjust and adapt to it. So there can be a sense of resistance, there can be a sense of distance. So that resistance and distance will not lead fraternity, or we can say love and harmony, truly bloom when we are talking about this. Baldev, यहाँ पे you can just see this dimension, Baba. I have just drawn explicit, and then I have like created this. It is related to communalism and riots. So when you are overt, when you are like expressing, you are expressing intolerance. Okay, when you are loud about it, verbally or physically. That's what. All right. So when we are talking about it, yes, you can connect it with Yalduz against Rush, like Razia Sultana. But mind it, here we are not talking about like intolerant towards gender or caste or ethnicity. Here we are primarily connecting this possibility pertaining to religion first and foremost. That's why I'm using the word communal riots or communalism and fundamentalism. It can be, though, associated with ethnic violence, friction between any two communities per se. All right. So, with respect to this, when we are do not skip questions, please. I mean, when we are talking about this given dimension with respect to the tolerance segment, we all can reflect upon a greater or more virtuous condition, that is, above tolerance, there is acceptance. Acceptance. So acceptance is a more virtuous term, because there you accept that yes, people are diverse, and it is so awesome that people are diverse. There is no resistance to the possibility of, we can say, diversity. See, I mean, we all human beings, we are not born like cats and dogs and other animals. We are not born with a language that we just are born and we start speaking a language. We all human beings, as we are born, we are trained to learn a language, and through the language we are able to get introduced to the culture. So language is the facilitator or tool with respect to what we can consider a specific culture is all about when we are discussing about it. SME, I would request you to support me with few questions. There are students who are joining in late. They will read the PPT and they will randomly start picking questions. Explicit means ethnocentrism, ethnocentrism means. So I cannot keep repeating things on the loop. So please support me in this, that students who join in late and get stuck with some technical terms, just explain that to them so that they are able to catch up from the midst. Now, so when we are talking about the possibility of acceptance, when you accept that yes, we are diverse, see, I mean, tolerance or acceptance, when we are connecting it with the concept of diversity, diversity is the most natural phenomena. We are by birth, we are not getting a language. Nature is not endowing us with a language. And that's why in human societies, there are hundreds and thousands of languages that are spoken. If I speak of India, if I talk about all vernacular languages put together, there are more than 500 languages being spoken and understood in a country like India. After Papua New Guinea, India is the country in the world with second highest number of vernacular languages spoken, and that makes us linguistically so pluralistic, right? And that's the beauty when we are talking about the dimension of acceptance. So in that phenomena, when someone is resistant towards any language, any religion, that, oh, don't, exercise that language in front of me. Like suppose someone says that I don't want to listen to Bodo, or I don't want to listen to Gujarati, I don't want to listen to Tamil, I don't want to listen to Hindi, I don't want to listen to Malayali. This resistance is anti diversity. Okay, at all times we should be open to embrace diversity, because you need to understand, as a civil servant, you may be posted in a different region, in a different state, in a different area. So if you don't accept tolerance as a way of life, as a thought process, it is really going to create a lot of chaos with respect to this given subsegment, right? So that is something which all of you need to understand when we are substantiating this given idea. So as you are born into a society which is like highly pluralistic, and you are learning different types of languages, and if someone says X language is better than Y, that is highly stupid, for the simple reason it is going to create a friction, for the simple reason that it is against the spirit of diversity. I mean, if even if you go to a park, a public park, and you're sitting, you will see there are so many types of grass. These are the season of mangoes. There are so many types of mangoes which are available, right? If we think of dogs, there are so many subtypes of dogs. If we talk about human beings, there are so many races of human beings. We think of language, there are so many, we can say, types of languages that we can speak. So, any person who is against any specific language, religion, caste, community, race, etc., even before the person is anti constitution, okay, anti spirit of fraternity and equality, the person is first and foremost anti nature. The person is against nature, because the person is unable to accept and appreciate that there will be a lot of, we can consider, uh, there will be a lot of resistance per se. That's why there is no national language. Yeah, I mean, all Indian languages are national language. Can we see it like that, Sahil? That will be amazing, isn't it? And it's so beautiful. The more number of languages you learn, the greater your possibility of, like, I would say, evolution of your brain, evolution of your perception. So it's very, very important for any human being. And in India, by default, we all are multilinguals. We at least know two to three languages, at least. On a high side, if we add some other vernacular languages, or we can say regional languages, then in that situation, on an average, five to six, right? On an average, if I speak of myself, I can understand at least 10 languages in India, at least 10 languages. Okay. And when it comes to speaking it out, I am comfortable in four languages. Okay. So, and that's how you see the possibility of plurality. So plurality, when we are talking about it, so tolerance above tolerance, because in tolerance there is a sense of just adjusting, adapting, coping up with it. Above it, we all can see there should be acceptance that yes, we are diverse, and that's how we have existed for centuries together. Above acceptance, there is appreciation. When you appreciate, wow, we have so many languages in India. So when you have a deep sense of appreciation towards the possibility of diversity related to language, culture, race, ethnicity, that is something which strengthens your basic possibilities associated with how you process an information, or how you are able to understand and interpret the dimensions accordingly. So, from this perspective, implementation of UCC is wrong? No, Vishal. UCC is in consonance with social justice. If you see the spirit of UCC, Uniform Civil Code is not common civil code. Uniform Civil Code is to promote social justice, and it is primarily associated with women's rights. People think it's associated with religion. No, it has nothing to do primarily with the concerns of religion. It has to do primarily with women's rights, that in the name of religion, their rights are not crushed. Because if we are talking about issue of divorce, who suffers from triple talaq? If we are talking about issues of property, who is denied from property? Women. If we are talking about marriage, who suffers from low marriageable age? And when marriageable age is increased, who is like undergoing the rigor? So when we speak of uniform civil code, please remember it is less to do with religion. If you actually reflect upon the inner components associated with it, it is more associated with women rights, gender rights. So promotion of UCC shall promote tolerance and diversity. So it is in consonance with the spirit of tolerance and diversity, and that's why it is a part of DPSP. Okay. The only issue is the bad politics around UCC, poor interpretation of UCC. People like, that's amazing. That's amazing, Shiva, that you are comfortable in five languages: Kannada, English, Hindi, Telugu, and Tamil. Amazing. I understand 25%, 20 to 25% of Tamil. I don't understand Malayalam. Malayalam, I find as the toughest language because of the root words being different. I understand Telugu. Telugu around 30, 35%. Kannada, better, something around 40, 45%. No, I can say up to 50% comfortably. I can understand, like, I can speak Bengali. though sometimes the grammar can undergo a friction. I can speak Odia to a certain extent, but not very fluently. I can speak Assamese, few sentences, but I can understand it flawlessly. I understand Punjabi, and I can speak some broken version of Punjabi. Definitely Hindi. There is Sanskrit. There is the possibility of Bhojpuri. There is Avdhi, so I can speak Avdhi. I can speak Bhojpuri. I can understand and speak Rajasthani, but few things in Rajasthani again can go twisted. I understand Gujarati. Okay, so all that when we speak of it, so and I know that all of you are so very multilinguals, and that's the beauty of India. It makes us multilingual, and when we are multilingual, that's the first step of making us, I would say, accept the possibility of diversity, accept the possibility of tolerance when we are discussing about it. So, oh, I have belonged to so many states when it comes to it. Childhood spent in one state, and like higher education spent in another state. So, that is something which is behind my power of multilingualism. Yes, some tribes are matrilineal. That's so very true. But just because they are matrilineal, that does not mean that they are discriminating towards men. One. Second thing, Uniform Civil Code is not associated with women inheriting all the property. It is all about like equal rights to property. Okay, so let us be very clear about it. And in matrilineal societies, you can see that the lineage means the family line, the bloodline is passing from mother to daughter. But when it comes to inheritance of property, there can be different types of practices. There is a practice of avuncu local, whereby the mother's brother is the caretaker of the property. Mother owns the property, but the actual functioning of the property and caretaking is with the mother's brother. So if you get into the depth, I can show you some picture, but that's like now unnecessary and we don't need to get into it. I hope the basic curiosity has been fed, the basic sense of understanding has been fed, because Sarashti, the base of all these languages are similar. In fact, if you see Ayuth province in ancient Tamil, there was this province of Ayuth. Many people confuse it with Ayodhya, but it was Ayuth. And the princess of Ayuth province, she was married to the king of Korea, and that is how this she became the queen of Korea. And that's why the progeny, the Korean progenies of, like we can say, the Korean society, when you look into it, their features are different from that of Chinese and Japanese. They relatively have sharper features and more pointed features, and you'll find that Korean language, 20% of Korean language has Tamil words, and like people from Tamil Nadu can understand Korean language. That's the beauty of cultural continuity. If anyone knows the history of Southeast Asia, will be more thorough with these basic facts and will be amazed to know these basic facts. And that's how plurality is taken care of. Anyway, so when we are talking about it, above appreciation is love. And here, love does not mean romance. Here, love is associated with the benevolent expression whereby multiple communities are able to coexist together, whereby everyone is supporting and caring for each other. There is the practice of fraternity at all times towards each other when we are talking about this given dimension. Article 25 is violated. UCC is implemented because religion tells that polygamy is allowed. Okay, so Atharv, as you are talking about polygamy, let me share this basic fact with you, that in 1971, the census clearly laid down the fact that Hindus were far more polygamous in number than the Muslims. Okay, so if you actually get into the facts of the situation and you look into Indian history, the Indian kings, whether Hindus or Muslims, they were like polygamous. They used to marry more than one woman, and it was a standard practice. In mythology of Ramayana, also you can see that Dashrath had three wives. If you talk about facts, you can see the Maharaja of Punjab in the 20th century, and he had so many wives. Okay, so, when you are talking about the possibility of polygamy, it has been a part of Indian culture for long. It's just that the Hindu personal law was amended in 1955. 1956 onwards, like polygamy was prohibited amongst Hindus. It was raised by B.R. Ambedkar in 1961 that when the personal laws related to Hindus was amended, then why not Muslims? To which the present government like responded that. We are going in a phase based manner with the concerns of reforms. First, we are experimenting to promote UCC in the majoritarian population, and then as the majoritarian population accepts it, because polygamy was in the majoritarian population as well. So as it is accepted in the majoritarian population, so we shall like implement other practices in the minority populations of India as well. Okay, again we can see that if we are talking about these practices, then you can again consult the data, and you can get an idea associated with polygamy, that what is the percentage practice, and you'll realize that which tribes, which regions, which states, and which areas are affected by it. And like logically speaking, um, with going by the principles of universalism and equality, if a man is uncomfortable that his wife should not have more than one husband, she should be like monogamous, the same expectation goes from the wife, that she also would prefer that the husband doesn't have multiple wives, like he's having just one partner. So that's why we see that the world moved ahead from polygamy, and the world across religions, across communities, is quite to a great extent has moved to monogamy as the standard practice. All right. So as we are further moving ahead, is love meaning patriotism? No, Asma. Love over here means humanism. Okay, humanism, because in patriotism you're still having love for the country, but we are talking about love for humanity, right? So, as all of you are able to understand the basic concepts pertaining to diversity and pertaining to tolerance, so when we are discussing about the idea of tolerance, this is how the graph of tolerance increases and strengthens itself. On the basis of this understanding, uh, can we say that love as devotion? Yes, you can connect this idea of love, benevolent love, as devotion as well. That's also possible as we are discussing about it. So, as we are building upon this given dimension, we can now start connecting it with the basics. So, remember it as TAL for exam. Huh? I mean, like, it's not necessarily these are, if you understand like, you understand it logically, so you don't need to make acronyms. You'll just be able to flawlessly create it. Things when anonymous create a pressure on memory. Things when they flow outside you effortlessly, it is a part of your conscience, then you don't need to create acronyms. But like good effort, Abhishek, at least you are thinking for your friends and coming up with solutions per se. All right. So, can we connect love with friendship? Yeah, love can be connected with friendship, but it this love is more benevolent in nature. It is more like the way the Sufi saints exercised love in bhakti poetry. All the bhakti poets were talking about love. It is associated with the principle laid down in the constitution pertaining to fraternity, secularism, and equality, that can be connected with the idea of love. Okay, when there is a deep sense of brotherhood, belongingness, supporting each other, that is something which can be connected to the given idea of love. All right, so I hope all of you are able to connect with this basic concept. The base has been built by all of you. Shargun, you'll have to type the question again. Is it like, ma'am, is love? Can we give the example of Mirabai? Yeah, I mean, like Mirabai also had a deep sense of love, but that was more spiritual in nature. Here we are not talking about spiritual love. Here we are talking about manifest brotherhood. Okay, spiritualism, it makes it more subliminal, because here you are talking about a human being having an ethereal connect with one's we can say the uh, supernatural. So here, when we are talking about the idea of love, it is the love between two human beings, so it's more associated with the worldly context and the fraternal or the humanitarian context. All right, Shargun. So Yes, you can connect the idea of love with Swami Vivekananda. All right. Yes. So now we start with this idea of tolerance as we are proceeding with this component of tolerance. That what is tolerance? First, we need to understand that, and then we need to reflect it from the perspectives of history. So, tolerance, when we are talking about it, so we can write that it refers to a fair, objective, and liberal attitude. Fair, objective, and liberal attitude towards those whose opinions, opinions, practices, practices, race, race, religion, rationality, rationality, etc., is different from one's own. Is different from one's own. Then you can further substantiate in simple words. It is um, the capacity to endure, the capacity to endure diverse views, diverse views and practices in our environment. In our environment. So that's what is the standard definition of tolerance when we are talking about it. So it is what? So it is fair, objective, and liberal attitude towards diversity, towards differences. Okay, in simpler language, if we put it. Now, when we are discussing about this given subsegment, we can reflect it from the perspective of history. So, like if I'm talking about historic India, so in prehistoric times, we can connect it with, we can consider wall murals and cave paintings of Bhimbetka. Why? Because in these cave paintings, all of us can see that there are nomadic, we all can see that it is associated with, we can consider nomadic people living together in groups. Okay, so if it is shown that nomadic people are living together in groups, so what does this imply? So no one can live together in groups in the absence of peace and tolerance. So it is indicative of, this is indicative of peace and tolerance as a part of their culture, right? Similarly, when we are connecting it with the dimensions associated with ancient India, so in ancient India we can again like move ahead with certain other possibilities. So in ancient India we can talk about like we can say the Ashokan pillars and rock edicts. So Ashokan pillars and rock edicts that carry the message of tolerance. Okay, message of tolerance. You can also carry forward a lot of other examples. You can also think of Chandragupta Maurya, and Chandragupta Maurya embracing Jainism, embracing Jainism, right, which is also an example of tolerance. Okay. You can also talk about, like, let's say, we can talk about Nalanda University. Nalanda University, which was primarily you could see that the Buddhists were Buddhist monks were the teachers and they were the residents, and it was protected by the Gupta kings. So protected. Just a second, by mistake, I wrote protested. So protected by Gupta kings. Right. Again, with respect to it, we can also talk about the Shaivites, the Vaishnavites. We can say the Buddhists, Jains, because we are talking about ancient. So do not add Sikhism. Okay. So we can see there have been different types of sects and cults. So plurality of sects and cults, right, present in ancient India. So plural sects and cults in ancient India, which also shares the possibility that plurality can exist only when diversity is protected and propagated. Yes, you can quote Ajivikas also. You can also talk about ancient travelers. Very good. I appreciate all the examples that all of you are able to think and bring to context, right? You can also further, yes, you can connect it with Rashtrakutas as well, Indus Valley civilization. So very true. Then we can also connect it, yes, we can connect it with medieval era, and you can talk about Ashoka, as you were one of you was thinking and quoting. So you can think of Akbar in medieval era, as you were suggesting. So Akbar, and you can talk about his Sulhe Kul. You can think of Deen-e Ilahi. He was also creating a common ibadat gah for all, removing jazia, all of it. So you can also think of the Bhakti and Sufi movements. Bhakti and Sufi movements, right? Similarly, in modern times, you can talk about the Constitution. So the values in the Constitution, you can think of thinkers like Nehru. You can think of Gandhi. Spelling. Acha, chalo, Vivekananda, let me write. So Vivekananda, Gandhi, right? So we can just consider a lot of thinkers associated with present times as well, who have built or strengthened the spirit of tolerance in present situation. You can also quote Constitution. You can talk about Article 19, 25 to 30, right? You can also talk about the possibility related to our preamble. So all of it can be also quoted. So yes, you can think of APJ Abdul Kalam. You can quote Tagore, right? So Tagore, APJ Abdul Kalam. All right. Yes, you can think of B.R. Ambedkar. So idea of fraternity, yes, is from French Revolution. Yes, you can think of Raja Ram Mohan Roy as well, Ria. That will be like fine. So can we connect the term tolerance with Kerala reformer? Yes, yes, yes. Sri Narayan Guru is also associated with it. So I appreciate you all can connect with a lot of examples, right? Now, coming to the when you are understanding the concept of tolerance, let us understand why tolerance is important in civil services. Yes, can you guess why tolerance is important in civil services, people? Yes. Why is tolerance important in civil services? Meanwhile, I'll just quote Voltaire. So, Voltaire, when he said this given statement pertaining to tolerance, that, sir, I disagree, sir, I disagree with what you say, but I will defend, I will defend to death. We, but I will defend to death your right to say so. Your right to say so. What does this imply? Sir, I disagree with what you say. Means there can be an intellectual difference in what you think and what I think. There can be differences in the way we perceive a fact or a situation. But I will defend to death. I will stand by your side in all conditions. Your right to say so. I mean, I will, like, at all times be standing for your right, at all times be there for your, like, we can say, conditions and possibilities, the right to say so, and your capability to have a dissenting opinion. No one is crushing you, killing you, harassing you, threatening you to have a dissenting opinion. That is the beauty of the concept of tolerance when we speak of it. Okay. So, like banning movies, ensuring democratic values. Yes, in civil services, tolerance is there because it can maintain peaceful conduct, law and order. Very good, very good. It can propagate, the possibility of serving all types of people to ensure democratic values. Tolerance is essential. Very good, very good. It is so first step towards acceptance of love and accepting different communities. Agreed, agreed. It also can help you to bring reforms. Very good. Yeah. Okay, so there's again another piece of information which let me share with all of you. That is, the notes has been uploaded. I asked one of your friends, and your friend suggested that yes, the notes has been uploaded. So foundational values related to civil services, I had shared some simplified notes with all of you that has been uploaded. You can give a quick read to it this weekend, so that whatever is being taught in a more simplified language, you can read it and understand, especially those students who were for past 2 3 days complaining that they were unable to catch up with Subbarao because they found it the language little tough. But that is the language you have to reach to finally. Meanwhile, as a, we can say, stepping stone, after the lecture you can read the material. The material will be relatively easy. Another question, a lot of students who mailed me that, ma'am, how to prepare notes, I am struggling to prepare notes. Or a lot of students in the live class also wrote that, ma'am, how to prepare the notes, I'm struggling with respect to this. So what I have done is I have uploaded ethics notes, how the notes are generally prepared in the form of bullet points. Okay, so you can go through that material and you can learn how notes is prepared. So related to first chapter, you can see a lot of segments which I discussed in the class, and a lot which I could not discuss, but it was a part of the elaboration. So you can read it from the notes and you can see how the notes in the bullet points has been prepared. I like got it done from one of the students. I told what all should be incorporated and what all unnecessary details should be missed out. So it is just an indicative material. Similarly, there is one more thing when you will be seeing the possibility of reading the material, because yesterday, probably it was, who was that student, Divya. When I read Divya's a sense of struggle, and there were few more students who had written, probably initially I think Shubham was also experiencing that. So Yogita, you can get it in the ARM section, additional reading material, wherever it is uploaded you can find that. Okay, so yes, I will try to provide, Sushmit, if you go through the ethics notes, you will find it associate the bullet notes associated with almost all chapters, the bullet notes. And the foundational values for civil services, okay, that topic, foundational values for civil services, is in language form. It is in the language form, not in bullet notes. That is paraphrased. So there are two notes which is uploaded. One notes is ethics notes, which is to inspire all of you who are struggling how to prepare notes. And second is foundational values for civil services. That is a simplistic take, a simplistic explanation of how the concept of foundational values needs to be understood, and it needs to be perceived. All right. So I hope all of you are able to understand this. In posting other states, democratic tolerance, yes, yes, very good. Like Monish, when we are posted in different states, then also like tolerance will really help us to cope up with plurality of identities. So instead of preparing our notes, should I follow your PPTs? Yeah, you can follow the PPTs, Sachin. Also see the bullet notes, how I have prepared the bullet notes, okay, or I have got the bullet notes prepared. That is how notes can be prepared as cue points to revise before the exam. That is how generally you will find the ease in revising it. I found the notes of 77 pages. Yes. So links for ethics notes. You found the 77-page notes. That's fine. That's good. So the bullet notes is also there, and like few of your friends have found it out. I think SME can support all of you. SME, please provide just a link like which is open for all, so like majority of them can check it out, but please do so after the class. Don't get distracted between the class. I just like created the possibility so that all of you gain some confidence, all of you are able to gain some kind of ease and comfort in the discipline, because I understand like none of you, or maybe just 5 or 10% of you have the background of philosophy. More than 90% of you don't have any background, academic background of this subject. And that's one of the reasons associated with the struggle. So when you are going through the material, when you are reading the content and going through the material, it will make sense. There is one more purpose associated with uploading the notes. So there will be two notes, mind it. One will be ethics notes and another is foundational values for civil services. Please let me know that both have been uploaded. If either of them is not uploaded, I'll look into that also. Another thing is with respect to this is when you are reflecting upon the content, uh, just try to go through the Indian philosophers and thinkers as well. You will find notes on Jainism, Buddhism, Vivekananda. You will find on Mahatma Gandhi. You will find on Nehru. You can get and these topics are also there in ancient history or medieval history or modern history. So because this area is hardcore connected to history, still I have supported it with notes how the component should be dealt or prepared for the component of ethics, so that when I have to take the dimension, so Indian philosophers and thinkers, I will only touch briefly. I will go ahead with the previous year questions and potential questions that can be asked. If a question is asked on Nehru, then how answer should be written, or if a question is on Lohia, how the answer ought to be written. So some tentative questions Q&A set has been created, and I will be discussing that, because the preparation of Indian reformers, social reformers, thinkers is coming from the component of history. Okay, and it has been supported with the in the form of notes as well. Through question and answer, I will build your basics, that how you are supposed to approach the topics which you are already reading in history, and you are also repeating it or getting it revised here in the component of ethics. Western philosophers and thinkers, I'll try to take it as detailed as possible, yet I have provided like detailed material pertaining to Western philosophers and thinkers, so please do read it. Along with that, there is also one more disclaimer which I will add. There is no end to the list of thinkers that can be asked. Like, for example, you saw a quotation related to Erik Erikson, and the concept of tolerance was asked. So you could not have thought that Erik Erikson can be asked. Or, like, let us say in modern day thinkers, we have Noam Chomsky, we have Amartya Sen. So someday, maybe some quotation of Noam Chomsky or Amartya Sen can also be raised before you. Like there can be a quotation from Michel Foucault or Derrida, and you cannot say, oh my God, why should I study Derrida, or why should I study Michel Foucault, or that is not amongst the list of Western philosophers and thinkers, because they are not one or two, there are hundreds of them, and prominent ones if we are taking human history in account. Okay, so how to handle the question answers pertaining to thinkers, I will also explain you through like a previous year question, a potential question, and also certain other expected areas. Okay, so this is going to be my, we can consider, approach for building your basics in the future for all of you. So in the break, please go through it. Yes, you got both the notes. Thank you. Thank you for informing, Sachin. So this information is much appreciated. So you have a 17-page notes related to foundational values for civil services. It is paraphrased information, easily written. All of you can get connected. Yes, Frank Boas also can be connected with like modern day thinkers and philosophers. Again, 77-page notes is nothing but how you should prepare notes in bullet points. Okay, and it's printed, that's why it's 77 pages. Had it been handwritten, it would have crossed more than 150 pages. Better know that. Okay, so get like to learn how to prepare notes accordingly. So I think SME can support with like how to get the notes. I think all of you must be downloading material from the ARM section, no? So you can just see that the ARM section of lecture 2, share here cause it is not uploaded. Okay, no idea about that. So you just can like download from the ARM section. Thank you, SME, for responding it. So you just go to the like as suggested by the like we can say the SME, that go to my classroom, then enrollment of the course, whichever course you are enrolled to, then select view course dashboard, go to syllabus, select your month, subject, and ARM, and there you will find the material. All right, do so in the break. Now let us get back to the question, why tolerance is important for civil services. I just hope and pray that it generates a lot of confidence. Okay, I hope and pray that once you go through the material, it generates a lot of confidence and ease, relaxation in the subject. You know, this is one of the most beautiful subjects which can transform the way you witness the world, the way you look at the world. And its importance is not mere academic. The importance is so soulful, it can transform you as a human being. It can make you more compassionate, it can make you more sensitive, it can make you more loving and giving towards all. It can make you a better human being who is concerned for the larger biome, who can give back to the larger biome. This is the beauty of this discipline. So I really earnestly request all of you that develop a knack in this discipline. And the yes, definitely, Vivek, this subject is far more fetching. In GS paper 1, 2, 3, students struggle to get something around 100, whereas this paper 4, because of its subjectivity, if someone understands and adapts to the subjectivity, gets the knack to decode the question and recall the right theory and concepts, examples, and write it all in a systematic manner, such a student can easily crack more than 130, 135 marks. And the impact shall also be witnessed in essay paper. It shall also be witnessed in interview. Okay, and the soulful experience is so tremendous. I can't tell you that even today when I read new we can say articles, essays, pieces of writing pertaining to ethics written by different philosophers and thinkers around the world, it's so enervating. Even today I feel like a child when it comes to this discipline, and I feel there are so many breakthroughs which we all have to undergo. See, my professors also say the same thing, that like they feel like an innocent kid when they are open to the domain of knowledge and wisdom. So this is something which feeds your curiosity and keeps you ticking while you are learning. And that is this sense of sufficiency in insufficiency, and insufficiency is something which feeds the fire to constantly grow better. So that's what this discipline can create. It will make you a more deep person, a more reflective person. So like enjoy preparing it, and just make the best use of the simplified material, even though it is simplified and it is in bullet points, but few of you will like undergo the rigor. If you're stuck in technical jargons, technical words, there are a lot of university dedicated websites which explain the technical words. So if you get stuck in any word, whether in Subbarao or in the like bullet notes which I have provided, don't feel nervous. Go to any of the educational websites. How to go to them? Type the word, then write .edu. That's it. And some educational page will open. Don't open, I would say, coaching material, coaching websites. No, like type either Encyclopedia Britannica, or if not Encyclopedia Britannica, then you can go ahead with any of the educational websites. Educational websites, edu is for universities. Okay, so university web pages have edu in it, so the information that is uploaded is authentic, it is academically rich and correct. So if any time you get stuck with any technical word, that's the way how you solve it in your private capacity, without feeling helpless or nervous that, oh my God, who's going to help me with this term, this jargon, or this possibility. The component of exploring information through educational websites also is relevant for all the GS paper 1, 2, and 3. Because always remember, the content uploaded in coaching websites may not be as competent as the content uploaded in educational websites, because educational website pages are generally uploaded by professors, junior professors, assistant professors, or researchers, junior researchers. Even Encyclopedia, when it hires the, like we can say, the content developers, they hold at least a master's degree, or they are doing research in that topic. Okay, so they are holding an academic expertise to write related to the topic, so it is authenticated, it is worthy of like being cross checked and verified. All right, spoken a lot about how to approach. Now, with respect to this given area, so tolerance with respect to civil services, when we are talking about it, why is it important? So here you can first and foremost, you can talk about the possibility that tolerance upholds human rights, upholds human rights, human rights, comma, right to dignity, right to a dignified life, and rule of law, and rule of law, and rule of law. All right. Again, you can say that it leads to peace and harmony. It leads to peace and harmony in a pluralistic society. Peace and harmony in a pluralistic society. Okay. You can also further say that it encourages the values of impartiality and objectivity. Impartiality and objectivity. Impartiality and objectivity. Okay. So you have keywords like human rights, a right to dignity, or right to a dignified life, and it also promotes rule of law. It also promotes peace and harmony, and it also encourages impartiality and objectivity. So a lot of keywords are given already, right? So pluralistic means diverse, Divya. Okay. And I hope, Divya, you are feeling more comfortable and confident, like now, bit by bit in this discipline, because, it just left me concerned, especially for last 2 days when I was seeing few of you because of non-academic background in this discipline, connecting, understanding, liking, and yet not getting a sense of sufficiency, that, oh, what much more has to be done and why I'm struggling with the technical jargon. So that's why you are supposed to, all of you are supposed to work on your vocabulary big time. These are not words which are associated with ethics only. Like, for example, the word uphold. So, upheld in the constitution, something which is kept up, that is upholding. When you like give importance to something, that is also associated with uphold. So it upholds this given segment when we speak of this given dimension. So Oxford Dictionary app is also helpful in understanding. Yes, yes, definitely. That's also, it provides, I would say, a lot of uh, parallel words, and a realm of words can open up. A world of words which are associated with the term is also explained. We can also further reflect upon another point, that is, tolerance is not only is not only a means, you understand, no, like the we can say methods that you take up. So it is not only a means to a diverse culture, because there will be no friction between communities, Alicia. And when communities will not be fighting, okay, because they will be accepting diversity, they will be experiencing tolerance, then in that situation, law and order situation shall prevail, right? Can private property and uneven resource of distribution lead to intolerance? Yes, when there is, we can consider um, exploitation to such an extreme level that there is a community or a group of people who are struggling to let even their basic human needs meet. In that situation, it can trigger crime and deviance. Okay, that's how you can connect with that given dimension, Abhinav. With respect to this, when we are like further substantiating, we can see that tolerance is not only a means to diverse culture, but also towards diverse opinions and views. Okay. Again, we can consider the possibility that social capital is proportional. Social capital is proportional to tolerance. Social capital is what? When a group of people belonging to different or diverse backgrounds stay together and they work together in consonance with each other, with harmony, with diversity, with plurality, and they support each other. So that leads to a cohesive community, okay, a harmonized community. And that also leads to the possibility of a society being able to work together with each other and build the possibilities for each other. All right. So, all right, no problem, Jay. Keep writing, keep noting down and working towards it. Because if you see the essay questions of 2021 and 2022, Jay, then you will feel as if you have lost the ground under your feet. So you'll realize that this is, again, ethics is the stepping stone for today's essays to be attempted. And you are choiceless when it comes to writing essays, because all topics nowadays are associated with ethical concerns or critical reflection pertaining to ethical concerns. All right, now, so with respect to this, social capital is proportional to tolerance. So when a society is tolerant, the people will be harmonized and living together with each other and building the society together, working for the development of the country or society together. If there is intolerance, there will be rioteering, there will be murder, there will be loss of, we can say, peace and harmony, because of which human life and property both will be lost, and thus the social capital will be lost. All right. Now, with respect to this, the fourth subsegment, SME, after this, if any student asks again, what is social capital, something like that, please respond. Because I've explained it twice. May any other student be supported again as per the requirement. Again, we can see everything starts with ego, or we can say sense of self importance. Sense of self importance. So you can consider that too much focus on one's own feelings makes, so too much focus on one's own feeling will create ethnocentric sentiment. You start feeling you are better than the rest, you start looking down upon others. So makes one too much concentration on one's own feelings makes a person intolerant. Intolerant. And when the person becomes intolerant, so you can connect the dots. So intolerant, so the person will experience anger. With increased levels of anger, there will be hatred, increase in hatred. With increase in hatred, there will be crime exercised towards other communities. So there will be unethical behavior and rise in crime. So you can connect with that given possibility as well. Okay. So that is how you all can connect with this given dimension. All right. So you can just connect this possibility. In fact, it was reported by, we can consider the Bombay High Court. The Bombay High Court hyphenating the role of civil servants in the moments of riots. The Bombay High Court said that, especially said so for Gujarat riots, that Gujarat riots could not be possible without the administrative support and involvement. Okay, why such a statement was made by the Bombay High Court, that Gujarat riots could not be possible without the administrative support and involvement? The logic is, please understand, that the administration, and when you enter the system you'll realize it all the more, that the administration at all times is capable to control violence of any intensity, because from police to paramilitary everything is at its beck and call. I can give you the example in the year 2013 in Ayodhya and Faizabad are twin cities. So what happened that after Durga Puja in October, the procession was carried out, like taking the like we can say the idol of Durga to be submerged in the river. So as the idol was taken out, for with the people were taking it out in the procession, and there was a lot of dark and music and dance and all that gyrating possibility. So it was passing through a Muslim vicinity, and what happened that someone hurled a stone, and as that stone was thrown or hurled, it just hit either Durga's neck or hand. Something happened, and the hand kept started dangling, or the head started dangling. Something like that happened, which immediately outbroke into a riot, because of which two people were immediately put to death, and after that the intensity of violence emerged, and within 48 hours around 25 shops in Faizabad were torched to fire, which belonged to the Muslim community. The impact was so tremendous that within again 3 days, the we can see the fire of communalism spread in the nearby villages as well. So the administration took cognizance of it within few hours, and the CM, the then CM, Mr. Akhilesh Yadav, he gave strict instructions to the bureaucracy that by any rhyme or reason the communal riot should not blow up. Nothing should happen out of proportion, and all this hate crime should be suppressed at any cost. So section 144 was imposed, and after that what happened was that there were a lot of rules and restrictions imposed for another 1 week or so, and related to public movement and interaction. And within a week the fire of communalism was doused. Another 1 month of monitoring continued, and things were back to track. Now, why I'm sharing this because when the administration was on its toes, then it could cull this nature of violence. Okay, but whether we talk of 1984 riots against Sikhs, whether we talk about the exodus of Kashmiri Pandits from Kashmir Valley, whether we speak of Kandhamal riots against the Christian community, okay, whether we are talking about Gujarat riots against the Muslim community, whether we are talking about Kokrajhar riots against the Hindu community, irrespective of which community was a victim, any time if the intensity of violence blew out of proportion, anytime we could see that communal violence was simmering for like weeks together or days together, it was possible only because there was some kind of political support and some kind of administrative support. In the absence of political and administrative support, communal violence cannot blow out of proportion, whereby it exists for weeks or a month or something like that. So the intensity of violence that unfolds before all of us, it is directly proportional to the kind of support it is gaining from the administration. That's why the Bombay High Court said that the Gujarat riots couldn't be possible without administrative support and involvement. The administration is supposed to bring peace and order, harmony at all times, maintain rule of law, peace and order at all times. So, in that situation, when we are talking about it, yes, Shivam, even that had happened. The torching of train also had happened. So, when we are speaking about all these different types of riots that have happened in different parts of the country against different types of communities, in which like people have lost their lives, lost their property, their loved ones, in that situation, who can save the people? Irrespective of which community they belong to, who can stand for human rights? Only a civil servant who is motivated, okay, who is motivated by the spirit of, we can say, secularism. Only the person who is motivated by the spirit of tolerance, only such a civil servant can contain the intensity of violence, can delimit the intensity of violence. Okay, it's there that, like, if rioteering breaks out, some loss of life and property will happen. I mean, that is something which sometimes is beyond the control of administration. But if it is like continuing for 15 days, 20 days, 30 days, it's not possible without administrative support, because administration can cull the fire of communalism, like if it is determined, like within few hours and sometimes within few days itself. That's there. Okay, so that's why I gave you this incident coming from Ayodhya, Faizabad, in 2013. It was a very big issue that the devotees who are going out with the statue of Durga, the statue being like, we can say, hurled with a stone and getting damaged. So that was direct infliction on religious sentiment, and still the riots could be controlled, the damage could be controlled. So that was just like being substantiated. I'm apprehensive to say, Vishal, that if probably COVID had not arrived, I don't know what would have happened in terms of the Delhi riots. The Delhi riots, the intensity with which they were roused, and the involvement of different political leaders, and we can say the administrative support cannot be denied in Delhi riots as well. So that's why when we are talking about it, any form of riots, any form of such activities, we need to understand how it happens and what is the intensity of it, and what kind of intervention from the administration, from the bureaucrats, can help us to douse the fire, to bring peace and order. All right. So, yes, Atharv, that's also a fact. Dividing Andhra and Telangana also was crucial to violence. Yes, Sachin, that was also there. The demand for Telangana was if you see, it was just after post independence itself. The way Mumbai was created, the way we could see Himachal Pradesh was created, later Uttarakhand or Jharkhand was created. Probably the Telangana issue was delayed beyond a requirement. In democracy, especially when we speak of a healthy democracy, always remember, regionalism is not against democracy. If regional demands are within the, we can say, canopy or framework of we can say national sentiment, and it is within the framework of healthy democracy, then fragmentation of states may not create a problem. Rather, it can ease governance, it can simplify governance, because smaller units are easy to govern, it is easy to administer, it is easy to understand the aspirations and hopes of people. Okay, so there are not only negative sides to regionalism, there is also positive side to regionalism as well. Okay, when the demands are meted in time bound manner. So yes, I am aware of that, Shubham. All right, so Your friend Shubham is sharing this, that he is from proper Ayodhya, and he was very afraid about some violence that would happen post Ram Janambhoomi case. But because of the vigilance of administration, and it they saw that there was not a single stone that was hurled, and everything continued with peace and order. So that is what the role of administration is, very crucial in maintaining peace and order in a given region, and letting not violence blow out of proportion, irrespective of which state it is, irrespective of which region it is. So yes, yes, that is also their chintan with respect to the state, because see, there are a lot of chintan, we can say, cliched situations in bureaucracy, and because of which certain bureaucrats may experience the rigor of it. All right. What is the difference between impartiality and objectivity? In impartiality, you do not exercise any form of biased behavior. In objectivity, you look into the facts of the case. So, SM, it seems that you were absent yesterday when objectivity was taught, right? Because if you remembered what is the definition of objectivity, you could have compared it with impartiality and understood it, right? Okay, so integration of princely states can be considered as an example of acceptance stage? No, no. It was not acceptance, my dear Aniket. They were coerced into integrating. They themselves were not willing to leave their privy status. All right. Now, so, as we are further substantiating this game and we are understanding the possibilities pertaining to tolerance, we all can understand that there is one more thing, that all India services can lead to, all India services can lead to different types of postings, different types of postings, which can expose an officer to cultural shocks, which can expose an officer to cultural shocks. Okay, full stop. Cultural shocks. So you can just say that he can adapt successfully. Okay, can adapt successfully only with tolerance. Okay, so he can adapt means adjust successfully only with tolerance. All right, so this is something which all of you need to understand. Fine. Again, with respect to this, when we are further reflecting upon this given dimension, I can probably give you this insight that in 1961, what happened was that, when the Chinese aggression happened in India, the China attacked India, and we could also see that, there was a lot of hurling of, we can say, abuse, and hurling of anger uh, in the parliament against Nehru. So what happened was that Nehru ji experienced bitter criticism, scathing criticism, even from Congress MPs. Like Ramdhari Singh Dinkar was a very famous poet and a Rajya Sabha member. So he actually read a poem against Nehru in front of him in Rajya Sabha, uh, and in also a joint session, which was received with, I would say, a lot of patience. Along with that, there was this another thinker, Ramanohar Lohia. So Lohia ji asked Jawaharlal Nehru that how could he dare to lose the region, and Nehru himself was at the back foot. It is considered that Nehru could not survive the setback, the backstabbing of China, and because of which he died an untimely death. Many people said that he experienced a lot of depression and a lot of guilt after the Chinese attack, because of which he became very reclusive and sad, and that also led to the cardiac arrest and the untimely death which he experienced, because Nehru was relatively very fit. So because he was like taken aback, he experienced a massive emotional blow by the way the Chinese premier behaved. He came to India, he was very friendly, Hindi chini bhai bhai sloganeering was raised, and as he went back to China, when he sensed that India is not prepared in terms of its defense and areas can be captured, so it just attacked the portions of Ladakh and Leh and captured certain parts. And when Ram Manohar Lohia raised this concern that we lost one of the strategic frontiers of India, to which Nehru, because he did not have any reason or logic to it, so he just like said that, but that area was not Kaushik, do not pass any loose remark against any of the leaders who are the shapers of India's conscience, the constitution, and the freedom. Because even you, when you become a leader, when you become an IS officer, not every decision that you will take will be in consonance with what ideally should be done, because it is easy to criticize people from distance. The best thing is look into the intention of the people. What is the final intention? And that's why it is important for you to study non-aligned movement. You need to understand Nehruvian policy. You need to understand Nehru's stand related to secularism. You need to understand an overview of even discovery of India, the rich understanding he had about the cultural plurality and history of India. It's like, I would say, one of the most unparalleled pieces of literature that you can read. And Discovery of India, as in a Hindi form, directed by Shyam Benegal, and it was sponsored by Rajya Sabha TV, and it was like aired, and it was also like there on YouTube, so you can probably watch it. It was there in Hindi, Bharat Ek Khoj. So you can just choose to watch it if you aspire to and if you can understand it. So otherwise, the English version of the book Discovery of India is always there. And that is something which will encourage you to tolerance towards Nehru. Because always remember, they are like our great grandfathers from whom we can consider we have inherited what we have inherited today. I mean, Ukraine, when like students were trapped from not only India but also Pakistan, they could show Indian flag and peacefully march out, save their lives. The credit somewhere goes to Nehru's non-alignment policy. Okay, so please, Kaushik, it is an earnest request that always take back your words and use your words very responsibly. Okay, I hope you are understanding this. And this mistake can be done by any student. Yes. Always, at all times, think and behave like an officer. Always choose your words in a more sophisticated manner and with a lot of empathy. A lot of empathy. And that is something which, at a young age, any person has the potential to do that. Uh, I got a first hand experience of a lot of things from my grandfather. He himself was a freedom fighter, and he was one of the best friends of Ram Manohar Lohia. So I had a lot of narratives. My grandfather was not a supporter in at all times related to Nehru's policy. In many things he supported him, but in many things he also criticized him. As a young child, I could not understand much, but at never ever he lost his tongue, cool of mind, or his I would say sense of analysis towards the right things he did and the things in which he missed. So a balanced sense of judgment was always there, and that is the mark of a wise person. It applies to all right. So and when we are speaking of this given situation, so this person Ram Manohar Lohia, he said that when Nehru said that, oh, that area was even not so fertile, that has been captured by China, to which Ram Manohar Lohia said that your bald head also does not have any hair, so what to do? Should you get it cut off? So you can understand there was so much of seething anger in the parliament against what had happened. Okay, what the territory that we had lost. Again, you can see that later on, once Atal Bihari Vajpayee, as a young political leader, had once, like in the parliament, made a very fiery speech, and he had criticized Nehru vehemently. To which later, when Nehru met AB Vajpayee, he said that you are a budding leader and a very promising one indeed. So keep up with the good work and keep serving the basic ideals of democracy and the tenets which are enshrined in the constitution. So, like, that kind of benevolence where, like, you have the intellectual freedom, okay, the intellectual freedom. I think it is not Ram Manohar Lohia. It was Ram Manohar Lohia Jadhav. Okay, so when we are speaking of this given possibility, we can understand that having this kind of benevolence and this kind of tolerance, that despite members of parliament making hate speech against you or passing remarks against you, and still in a democracy you are open to listen to those remarks, open to consider the criticism and see what can be learned and what mistakes can be undone or corrected. So that is the mark of a healthy democracy. Not that you are scared to pass a remark that in the parliament I'll speak, but later what all may happen to me, I cannot even think of it or calculate it. So you have to be like very particular about interpreting that given possibility. And here you can see what when Voltaire is saying, "Sir, I agree with what you say, but I will defend to death your right to say so." This given statement, which is spoken by Voltaire, is actually holding the essence of what example I just gave to all of you, right? Again, when we are further like uh, moving ahead further with this given dimension, uh, yes, Nehru was the person who removed the ban on RSS because he said that it is against the ideals of a healthy democracy and space for pluralistic perspectives. So very true. Okay, so that's how you are supposed to understand. So, okay, all right. Was it Mahavir Tyagi? Then let me just cross check. Jadhav, maybe you are correct. All right. So but like even Lohia, you see, he was vehemently critical, and that was the reason that he created Socialist Party in early 1960s, being exasperated by the, we can say, the elitist approach now and then taken up by few Congress leaders. All right. Now, as we are further proceeding ahead, we can again see that when we are talking about this component of tolerance, so tolerance is essential for democracy. It is essential to keep diverse opinions alive. It is essential to maintain impartiality and objectivity. It is essential to protect and propagate the human rights of all citizens at all times, especially by the civil servants. Okay, so this is how we are supposed to substantiate. Again, further, when we are talking about this given component, we can debate, is too much tolerance bad or harmful? The answer to this given question is definitely yes. Yes, too much tolerance is bad or harmful. For example, we can say Nehru's tolerance towards China or Pakistan. Okay, so that's how you handle questions, whereby you are writing facts as facts without passing personal comments or without going caustic, bitter about the situation. You're just writing facts as facts. Okay, so you appreciate that person's sense of wisdom, the possibility to appreciate diversity of opinions, the possibility of exercising political tolerance, but at the same time, too much of tolerance also became like a challenge for us. Okay, so you can talk about Nehru's tolerance towards Pakistan or China. You can also talk about when I have quoted heavily from Mahabharata because it is a book of we can say moral inquiry, as I have shared. So you can also connect with Yudhishthira. So Yudhishthira's we can say tolerance, too much of tolerance towards his cousins, and who are they? The Kauravas. The Kauravas. Who was the eldest amongst the Kauravas? This person, Duryodhan, was the eldest, and then there was Dushasan. And you can also see, because I'm recalling Mahabharata, so there was Shishupal, a character towards whom Krishna maintained tolerance. He said that I will forgive your 100 crimes, but the 101st crime, and I will behead you. So Shishupal was yet another character, I would say. Anyway, here we can also say in present times, we maintain zero tolerance policy. To what things do we maintain zero tolerance policy, people? respond to it. Very good. So, zero tolerance policy towards, so a lot of you have come up with examples like you can say national interest, terrorism basically. So, terrorism, nuclear attack, all right, very good. Something more? Criminal activity is correct, but it's too vague. You have to specify something. Okay. So, you can, first and foremost, you can talk about like rape cases, you can talk about acid attacks, right? You can talk about like harassment, right? So you can talk about harassment, you can talk about corruption. So zero tolerance policy, yes, we should have a zero tolerance policy towards hate speech, right, towards molestation, towards like threat to national security, threats to national security, any form of threat to national security, right? Communal polarization, very good, very good. So, reduction of capital punishment, zero tolerance policy towards reduction of capital punishment. No, Jyoti, we are always open to debate over the fact that whether we should continue with capital punishment, even though it is in rarest of the rare crimes, in the most heinous crimes, or should we do away with it? So there is every once in a while an ethical debate that starts associated with capital punishment. Every time after every few years, it is exercised upon some criminal who performed a rare act of crime. So that's there. Anarchism, cyberbullying, animal cruelty. Okay, all right. So, like, you all have a basic understanding associated with the policy of zero tolerance, right? So, I appreciate that. There was a dialogue in Mission Impossible which said that desperate times need desperate measures, right? Something like that. So desperate times need desperate measures. What does it mean? That we cannot go tolerant in the face of certain specific types of extreme versions of crime. We cannot go tolerant towards those possibilities, right? So that's there, which all of you can connect with. Okay. So in the larger view, when we understand that if injustice is inflicted upon others, we are supposed to stand for the rights of others, and it is the reflection of narrow mindedness due to which a person becomes intolerant or exercises any form of violence towards others, right? That is what I believe all of you can understand. Now, with this level of understanding, we should further reflect upon the next subtopic that is related to integrity. In 2021 mains, you got a question: integrity is a value that empowers the human being. Justify with suitable illustration. Now, all of you must have noticed something. Majority of the questions which I have shown you so far, on and off are asking about illustration, on and off are asking about example. So if I were you, I would have made a list of examples. Examples means at least three, and on a high side five. See, majority of the questions are 150 words. So where you have to write illustration. So there is no scope and space to write more than two to three examples. Standard protocol maintain two to three examples. On a high side, if someone is really motivated and aware, then you can go for four or five. But remember, the answer is not illustration. The question is not example or illustration. The question is justify. Justify means prove, validate with logic. Okay, so you have to validate or prove with logic. So you'll realize that all the questions which ask for examples or illustrations, they'll write substantiate with suitable illustration. The question is substantiate. Here, the question is justify. So the focus is on substantiate, justify, critically analyze. That's the core question. If you don't justify and you're just writing example, definition of integrity and then examples, that's not going to fetch you marks. Understand the nature of question thoroughly. The question is asking you to prove this statement, how integrity is a value that empowers human being. at what levels does it empower and how does it empower, and in the process then you give example. So the question is not about example. Example is just supporting, or we can say it is just holding or proving the component of the question. The actual demand of the question is justify. Okay, that's how you are supposed to read such questions, whether it is asked in GS paper 1, 2, 3 also. Whenever there is a question of illustration or example, notice there is a first part of the question, and the first part is the core part. To prove that first part, you have to give examples. All right, that's what. So, can I give example of Captain America? No, Lokesh. No fictitious figures have to be incorporated. So, fictitious figures like Captain America does not have to be written. Shaktiman, okay, and all that does not have to be written. All right. So, you have to. You can justify Shubham once you understand the topic of integrity. You will prove it. You will justify it. How integrity is empowering the human being at individual level, at organizational level, okay, at national level, how integrity is empowering a person. So first understand the topic, the chapter, the content, and then only you will be able to understand that. Now see, so many students are writing, so Bahubali, Chota Bheem, okay, so all that, no, you don't have to write all that, okay, just stick to the real life examples. Look into the insight. Is it right? Too much of tolerance leads to acceptance. Once acceptance comes, the person does not feel like bringing any reforms, thinking that the situation is going to remain the same. Um, See, too much of tolerance leads to unwarranted kindness. Too much of tolerance will lead to misplaced compassion, and that can lead to poor decision making. Due to poor decisions, a country or a community may end up suffering. Okay, Vanshika. So I hope you are able to understand the component in totality. Armstrong Pame can be given as an example. No, he was not DM of Assam, he was DM of Manipur, okay, in Manipur. So, yes, you can also talk of Armstrong Pame, but integrity means maintaining honesty at all times, okay, in your thought, speech, and action, maintaining honesty or uprightness at all times. Okay, so we'll come across new sets of examples. Why to like get stuck up with only one example? There are so many examples pertaining to every subdimension, and that's why you see topic after topic I generate a list of examples and I keep sharing those examples with you, sometimes through images, sometimes verbally, and sometimes in writing. Anytime if there is no image and I'm not writing, in those situations you should note down those examples always. That's why you are supposed to sit with pen and paper and like understand or connect with the topic. Yes, very good. You can connect with TN Session, Harsh. You can connect with TN Session. Yes, you can connect with Gandhi ji or APJ Abdul Kalam or Raja Harish Chandra. Yes, you can think of that him as well. Ashok Khemka sir. Yes, you can think of him. Yes, okay. Now let us reflect upon the component of integrity. So integrity is coming from the root word integritas, which means wholeness, soundness. Okay, and integrity refers to consistency in our conduct. What is consistency? At all time you are behaving the same. You are not changing your stand as per the suitability of time, place, or person. Okay, just because the person has changed means it is your parents, so you are having different standards of treatment, or it's your sibling, there is a different standard of treatment from the common masses. No, that's not integrity. Or like you, let's say the situation has changed, it's not in your favor, so you are using a different language. It is in your favor, you are using a different language. That's not integrity. OECD, like group of nations, so that group also defined integrity as generally accepted values and norms in daily practice. Okay, again, a better, like I would say, definition is given by Government of India, which I personally appreciate because it's wholesome. So it is consistently behaving in an open, fair, and transparent manner, honor one's commitments, and work to uphold the public service values. That's the meaning of integrity as given by Government of India. Okay. So Carter is saying that integrity is about willingness to act openly and consciously based on moral reflection, Doble equates integrity with incorruptibility, honesty, impartiality, accountability. So there are so many parallel words, synonymous words, or core reflections pertaining to integrity. Yes, integrity promotes probity, Payal. We can say that integrity promotes probity. Ram Setu by Ram and Hanuman and all the companions can be said as an illustration. Jyoti, the question was associated with illustration of integrity when we are talking about it. Never forget the keywords of the question. So, the keywords of the question is integrity is a value that empowers a human being. Okay. So, we have to talk about the possibility of taking from some real life examples. Preferably you'll get a lot of immediate examples, so don't worry, you'll come to reflect upon a lot of segments as we further proceed. So, who is a person of integrity? So, a person who is morally aware, a person who is consistent with personal morals and values. So, consistent in what? Consistent in thought, speech, and action. Whatever you think, so is what you speak, and so is what you enact. So, thought, speech, and action. When there is consistency in thought, speech, and action. Again, we can see integrity when we are talking about violation of integrity. So we all can connect it with, I would say, gift and bribery. Okay. So integrity like gets violated when we are talking about the possibility pertaining to like gift and bribery as well. We can also connect it with fraud and theft. We can also connect it with when a person loses integrity, the person will break rules or misuse power. So this is integrity violation. And you might find it very simple. Oh, this is something which I already know. But when a twisted question is asked, loss of integrity is not just loss of a person's virtuous personality, but also the loss of code of conduct in governance or something like that. Then a child is lost. What to write? Oh my God, the language is so tough. I'm unable to recall the content. I'm unable to connect with it. And just think about it. If a person is unable to maintain integrity at all times as a public official, as a civil servant, what will be the loss? Okay, what will be the possibility which will be experienced at grassroots level? When you actually reflect upon that given dimension, you are able to understand that that person can go corrupt, can accept unwarranted gifts, can get into fraudulent behavior, can also indulge in theft of resources. That can also lead to breaking of rules, regulations, misuse of power. And you need to remember, this looks simple, but when it comes to memorizing, there is a possibility that a student may remember 4 points or 3 points and struggle with the rest. So you're supposed to memorize the possibilities, right? So how do we display integrity? I said that there should be transparency in your thought, speech, and action. So thought, speech, and action. In thought, speech, and action, there should be openness and honesty. All right. Again, you should be able to honor your commitments, follow your rules, enforce law, public service values, and rules in all situations, whether difficult situations or normal situations. You are able to practice the rule of law, respect the rule of law. That is something which is expected when you are exercising or displaying integrity. Now, before we move ahead with this segment, that psychologically our life is divided into different subparts, so is different types of integrity that we are associated with. This part we will take up, the discussion of it we will take up after the break. So it is 6:49. Let us move ahead. So yeah, there was a technical glitch. So, as I was discussing about Mahatma Gandhi and the Jaggery incident, I said that Mahatma Gandhi, for like, there was an old lady who came to him saying that her grandson is not able to leave the habit of having Jaggery. So, it was requested by her that how about we go ahead with like an we go ahead with this possibility that you request my grandson to not have jaggery. So Mahatma Gandhi like got little concerned. He's like, how about you come next week, the same day? So she was like, okay. The next day, when she came over, he's just politely requested the child that don't have jaggery. It will lead to pimples. It will cause heat in your body. You will get like festers in your body, like and the wounds also won't heal easily because it will cause heat. So don't eat too much of sweets. It's bad for your health beyond a limit. So to which like the child was like okay, and he went ahead. To which this lady was surprised. She's like, this statement you could have spoken a week back also. To which Gandhi ji said that actually till last week I also had the same problem. I was also in the habit of eating jaggery after every meal. I really loved sweets, and because of which I prefer to eat a piece of jaggery after every meal. So, how could I say that to a child when I was myself practicing it? So, that is called walking the talk. Walking the talk means or practicing as you preaching. Okay. So, practicing as you are preaching, that means there is integrity in your thought, speech, and action. That is called integrity. So, as we are stepping into the component of integrity at personal level, so individual level, moral integrity, as we are starting with it. So, moral integrity is associated with, we all can connect, is associated with individual, okay, individual or personal integrity, okay. And here, as I told you, there is alignment in thought, speech, and action of an individual. So, alignment in thought, speech, and action. So, alignment in thought, speech, and action of an individual. Okay, of an individual. And that is how? That is with internal locus of control. There is internal locus of control. You know, when this internal locus of control is missing, and when there is like lack of integrity, then it is hypocrisy. So just the opposite of, we can consider, integrity is hypocrisy, right? So when we are talking about this given possibility, I can probably substantiate it from one more perspective. Like, let's say there is a student who's preparing for civil services exam. In the class, the child learns about women empowerment, gender justice, gender equality, constitution, etc. The child writes an essay on gender justice, and after getting selected, the boy takes dowry. Okay, that is loss of integrity. Similarly, yes, I was carried away in this like flow. Similarly, we can also, and thank you for that, Abhishek. And similarly, when we are talking about the same, we all can reflect upon another example. Like, let's say someone is talking about animal rights, talking about protecting dogs, cats, lions, birds, talking about protecting like, let us say, elephants, save the tiger, and then the person is eating goat, lamb, fish, chicken. So that is like, when you are talking about animal rights, it has to be consistent towards all animals when we are speaking of this given dimension. Yes, promoting feminism, talking about feminism, and not able to exercise that in their one's own home, and exercising violence towards wife or daughter or something like that, that's also hypocrisy. You can remember Keshav Chandra Sen, like people, he was brought to scanner because of the simple reason that he could not practice what he was preaching. So when he was running the Brahmo Samaj movement, and at that time when the Maharaja of Kuch Bihar sent the offer of his son to get wedded, or to marry Keshav Chandra Sen's daughter, and just putting it to test that whether he will get his young daughter married or not, who was about to be 16 years old, and going by the then social standards, like her like mother considered that it's already getting too late, but Keshav Chandra Sen was delaying the marriage till the time she becomes an adult. But because of familial pressure, he had to get her married. So everyone started questioning his integrity. Yes, it is deeply connected with morality. That is why there is internal locus of control when we are talking about it. Yes, it is connected to Aristotle's self realization as well. Okay. So after selection, the students, yes, that's also there. Mrityunjay, you can think of it. So when we are talking about this given dimension, you can connect it with other examples. People talking about climate change and all that, and using a lot of gadgets which like release chlorofluorocarbons, or using of like plastic material incessantly. So all that, right? You can think of the same thing pertaining to child labor, talking pro child labor, like sorry, against child labor, and using goods which have been produced by children in a given industry. So that's something which will again be a mark of loss of integrity. All right. So as you all are able to understand the term like integrity, you can understand that there has to be internal locus of control, or there has to be a response of one's own conscience. It is your conscience that regulates the possibility of what ideals you will stand for, what convictions you will stand for, what beliefs you will stand for in your behavior. Okay. Again, you will be able to see that it is also something which puts a check on your hedonistic tendency. Hedonistic tendency, what do you imply? Hedonistic tendency means the profit and loss reasoning. I shall do this because I'll benefit this out of this situation. I shall live with this condition, or I shall, like, perform this kind of act. So that is something associated with when you have material gain in your mind for doing an act, for performing an act. Okay, yes, the pleasure and pain is evaluated. So that is something which can be connected with this given dimension. Further ahead, when we are talking about this given subsegment, we can also like reflect upon a few more examples pertaining to it. Like Keshav Chandra Sen, I have already discussed. You can also connect it to that the possibility of when a person is like not able to maintain consistency at all times, because the term consistency also I had said. So unable to maintain consistency, unable to maintain discrepancy in thought and action. So that's also there, which is associated with moral integrity when we speak of it. So again, with respect to this moral integrity, when we are talking about examples, you can think of for example, I'll give you so in this individual, or personal integrity or moral integrity, as we are speaking of it. So you can think of, we can say, APJ Abdul Kalam. So APJ Abdul Kalam, when Kalam Sahab got some extended relatives or extended family to Rashtrapati Bhavan. Okay, so extended relatives. So in that situation, you could see that he was said that as the guests have come, they will be the guests of the state, and the expenses shall be borne by the state. To which APJ Abdul Kalam sir said that no, why should people like the taxpayer, the honest taxpayer, bear the brunt of my guests? I shall pay from my own salary. I will not let the exchequer bear the burden of my guests, because it's very expensive for guests to stay in the president's house. So that's something which you could see. Again, you can think of Lal Bahadur Shastri. So Lal Bahadur Shastri, when he was the prime minister, so Shastri ji, he needed a private vehicle because he did not allow his wife and his daughter to use the government vehicle for shopping or for other kind of miscellaneous purposes, and he did not own any vehicle. So for which he applied for a loan, a car loan in Punjab National Bank, and to which he got a 5,000 rupee loan. And later on, what happened was that he went to Tashkent, he was killed, and as his dead body came, so the government of India decided to waiver off that loan. To which, like his wife said that Shastri ji won't have appreciated that, and she said that we'll continue to pay the EMI of the loan via Shastri ji's pension. So that's like, the kind of integrity that you see again. And the same we can say, Punjab National Bank got the blow from Nirav Modi, which was more than 5,000 crore rupees, if we speak of it. Anyway, you can also think of M. Vishweshwaraya. So M. Vishweshwaraya. So M. Vishweshwaraya, as a scientist, he maintained, like, two sets of candles. So as he was reading the government document and doing the government work, he used to use the government candles. And whenever he used to read his own personal books, at that time he used to burn his own candles. Now, this is a very personal act. No one was monitoring when he is reading the government document and when he is reading the, like, his personal document. And candles at all times were like very cheap. So in such a situation, maintaining an integrity that I will not even the, like we can say, the burn the candle unnecessarily of the government. So that is something which is a mark of uprightness. I'm glad to see that all of you are able to recall your own sets of examples, and I really appreciate that. Whether you're thinking of Dr. Rajendra Prasad, or you're thinking of Chanakya, or you are, yes, even Vanchika, your connectivity of the very possibility related to Britishers was also there, which was like, previously that was also decent enough. They came here to modernize India, were themselves practicing racism. So very true, because they never came to modernize India. They came to exploit India commercially. Okay, so that was the reason. Anyway, so Sushmita Sen adopting the girl child, well, as she had even declared so in her Miss World speech. So yes, that's also true. So as we are reflecting upon this, you need to understand that integrity is a non-negotiable and non-selective quality. Okay, so integrity is a non-negotiable and non-selective quality. You don't have the space for selection, you have to do it. So non, we can consider selective quality. All right. So that's something which you are supposed to like substantiate. Again, you can think of this moral integrity or personal integrity from other perspectives as well, pertaining to a lot of examples coming from real life. Okay, so you can think of this given dimension. Again, when we are speaking of professional integrity, so when you are maintaining the integrity at the level of profession, so here I can give you the example of Manmohan Singh as the finance minister. So Manmohan Singh as the finance minister of India. So Dr. Manmohan Singh, when he was the finance minister of India, he introduced the LPG reforms. And due to the LPG reforms, what happened? So you must be aware of the scintillating career of Manmohan Singh ji, that he was first the professor in Delhi University, in D School, Delhi School of Economics. He was a professor. After teaching there, as he aged, he was encouraged, and he was made the finance, no, he was made the RBI governor. After the RBI governor, then he became the finance minister. So when he was the professor in Delhi University, he got an opportunity to teach in foreign universities, against which he was also paid in dollars. Like he had taught at Oxford, and when he was paid in pounds, and also he went to some American universities, and there he was paid in dollars. So Dr. Singh had some foreign currency in his account. And what happened was that when the LPG reforms were introduced, because of which the value of the currency that was there in his account, it shot up. Now, the thing is, it was his decisions because of which, the LPG reforms happened, and because of which the Indian currency comparison to the American dollar, the value of it changed. So, Dr. Manmohan Singh taking the responsibility of it and maintaining professional integrity, that let not any form of, we can consider, intervention, which is caused by him, lead to personal benefit or personal profiteering. So what he did was that he declared it to the government that this is the amount which is like added to my account because of this immediate change economic in the economic reforms, and he donated that amount in the like a prime minister's fund. Okay, prime minister's relief fund. At that time, Narasimha Rao was the PM, so he donated it in the PM relief fund. So that is another mark of, we can say, professional integrity. Again, you can think of Ashok Khemka sir. Ashok Khemka sir, like, after, we can consider his, if we talk about his scintillating career of 30 plus years, he has been transferred for more than 55 times. Same we can consider Pradeep Kasni. He is a senior IS officer from Haryana, almost 34, 35 years of service, and he has been transferred 67 times. Same applies to D. Rupa. D. Rupa, like almost 21 years of service, and she has been transferred almost 42 times. So when we talk about these people, they did never compromised with their integrity, even if they had to transfer within an year. So generally, bureaucrats have to transfer within 2 to 3 years, but in this case, they had to transfer within an year. And still, these individuals, they continued. Still, these individuals, they, I would say, reflected upon the possibility of what kind of interventions they can come up with and what kind of possibilities they can create. So APJ Abdul Kalam got a job from NASA, but he did not accept it. Okay, I'm not posted about this piece of information. Maybe that's true. Maybe I would have to like cross verify. A thought as an IS officer in Kerala for her integrity of arranging his marriage in a simple mode rather than a luxurious manner. She put forth the reason and example for poor girl, those who are a myth of marrying a person in a luxurious way and sign of prestige. Yeah, I mean, like in general, also I've seen, because I have a friend married in Kerala and I have visited Kerala quite often. I found people in Kerala very humble and soft spoken, and moreover, there is non pretentious attitude. Like there is a famous actress, I'm forgetting her name, Manju Warrior, that's her name. So she is a very close, like family friend to that of this friend of mine in the family in which she is married. So and when I attended her marriage, there was this guy who had won the national award as the best director, and he was serving food to all because people were eating on the banana leaf. So he was serving food to all without having the air that, oh, I'm a national award winning director and stuff. Similarly, this girl, Manju Warrior, when she was visiting this friend of mine's house, she looked like a regular ordinary girl, like very smiling, chirpy, homely, soft spoken. So no air, no attitude. So in general, I've seen that people from Kerala, they are very much connected to their roots, connected to nature, connected to in general people, not carrying a lot of attitude. If we speak of it, femina, that's also there. Satish Dhawan, yes, you can again talk about Satish Dhawan. Something extra which Vanshika I can add related to Satish Dhawan. Not only just professional integrity that he maintained when he took the blame of the mission failing, I'll also give it as an example which all of you should get inspired by. That if you have to write an example, like suppose if in the interview someone asks you that should you lead from the front as an officer or should you lead from behind, how would you like to lead? Always say, as per the suitability of the situation, I would like to lead from the front and behind. When should you lead from the front? The same thing, like Satish Dhawan sir, that whenever there is a mistake, whenever there is a failed mission or a failed possibility, as the leader of the team, you should own up the responsibility, come forward and say that it is under my leadership that things went wrong. So I take the moral responsibility, the professional responsibility of it all. The failure is on me. But when there is success in any mission, in that situation you are supposed to lead from the back, whereby you take a step back and you give the credit of success to your entire team, that without the contribution of the team, such a success was never possible. That's how you are supposed to substantiate. Okay. Yes, Sudha Murthy is also a very humble lady. Agreed. All right. So I hope you can understand. Yes, yes. You can think of Lal Bahadur Shastri and he resigning after the rail incident accident story. You can think of that also under the component of professional integrity, right? So, like Lal Bahadur Shastri, you can think of resigning after rail accident. You can think of a lot of IS officers. You can think of Ashok Khemka sir or D. Rupa. So, what am I writing and why is it going this way? Just a second. This typing instrument. So, Ashok Khemka, IAS Ashok Khemka, Pradeep Kasni. You can think of D. Rupa and multiple transfers in their career. In their career, almost like a transfer per year, like that kind of condition these individuals have experienced. Generally you are transferred in 2 years or so. So getting transferred so very frequently, it needs some courage because you are constantly living out of the suitcases or boxes. And but it can be accepted because, like, when you are going to be selected as an officer, are you not aware that after every 2.5 years you will have to like shift and post and transfer from your base place? You will have to, like, take up the things together and then walk out. And will you not have to, like, think of the given possibility whereby you are, like, constantly on the move, and when you are prepared for such a situation, it hurts you less. Your capability to handle or manage the concerns is better. All right. In the break, I hope majority of you could trace the notes, because before break, a lot of you could trace the notes. Please, after the class, do take the notes and try to make the best use of it this weekend. Yes, Ranjan Gogoi was exercising a hardcore level of unethical behavior professionally. Okay. So it was loss of professional integrity, Abhishek. All right. So Ambani got an offer from US to come and do business, but they rejected. Well, again, with respect to that, I need to cross verify, though it is still a multinational corporation, and the multinational corporation has an opportunity to spread its wings in multiple countries. So that's the thing. All right. Now, so as we are further substantiating the given possibility pertaining to it, then we have intellectual integrity. Under intellectual integrity, first example that is given over here by me is that of Socrates. I will also add something more to intellectual integrity. So, why is Socrates given over here as an example? For the simple reason that Socrates was given an opportunity that he can live, he can survive if he accepts that the statements he had spoken were false or incorrect. To which Socrates said that I am what my ideas are. So I cannot give up on my ideas. Who am I without my ideas? So even when his students said that, sir, we will continue to follow your ideas, but you just take your words back or let us just run away, to which he denied. He said that that will be failure of my ideas for which I stand for at all times. He not only rejected the plan of escaping, but he also rejected the plan of, we can say, refusing to accept the that his ideals were incorrect. So he had to give up on the ideals just before the public. He had to declare that he is giving up on the ideals, and in that situation he could have like survived, or he could have lived, but then he said that he won't give up on the ideal, and that is one of the things which you can connect with. So Rabri Devi, with respect to intellectual integrity, I mean, like, I could not connect. Ratan Tata, yes, you can think of him in terms of professional integrity. We can think of Tatas because, like, when we are talking about Tatas, Ambanis are treated as businessmen in this country. Like in Tatas, when we speak of them, the Tatas are treated as we can consider hardcore professionals, because they look into the ideals of trust, the concerns for people, looking into the details of their wholesome well-being, no underlying current of manipulation or cheating. So all that creates a lot of professional credibility and trust towards like Tatas. Anyway, intellectual integrity is what I am sharing with all of you. So with respect to that, I can substantiate certain sub segments. So first and foremost, in intellectual integrity comes under the scanner with respect to personal well-being. Okay, so intellectual integrity versus personal well-being, and this is that crisis which a lot of officers may suffer from. Like for example, you are offered a position of becoming the Niti Ayog chairperson. A lot of power would come your way. You will get a lot of VVIP treatment. A lot of protocols will be compromised for you. A lot of things will be facilitated for you, whether it is at airport or different other official spaces. Your family will be given that VIP treatment. Special designation will be allocated, and special seats in public functions, etc. In that given scenario, let us consider that you are to become the chairperson of Niti Ayog only when you compromise with your intellectual ideals. Is it possible? When we speak of it, is it possible? To which we all can connect that a lot of thinkers, or we can say intellectuals, quit upon such possibility. For example, I can give you the example of this person, RBI governor, Raghuram Rajan. Raghuram Rajan sir did it. Like when he was promised a second tenure at RBI, but he had to make certain intellectual compromises, he refused to do so. And he said that I prefer to quit rather than make any kind of intellectual compromises pertaining to my integrity. And later on, Urjit Patel rose to power. He was there for like some time, like barely an year or so, and he himself got very dissatisfied in the kind of reforms he had to bring about, which he was not approving of from the long term health of the country and the perspectives that would get created. So he also quit midterm. He took voluntary retirement and he joined Harvard University. Probably Harvard, not Cambridge. Means either of the universities. I'm getting confused. But he joined either of the universities as a professor, and he left the position of RBI governor. So intellectual integrity versus personal well-being is put to test, especially in the world of intellectuals, whether they are ready to compromise with intellectual integrity, or whether they are ready to work towards it. When the Congress government was in power and Arjun Singh was the HRD minister, at that time, there was a reservation policy amendment brought by the Congress government towards OBC reservation, to which Dr. Purushottam Agarwal, about whom I was talking that day, the UPSC, ex UPSC member, so he, as an intellectual, opposed it. And when he was a vehement critique on various television channels, he opposed it and criticized the government stand. Okay, though he was considered as a Congress empathizer, but when he was one of those rare intellectuals who went on the public forum and criticized the move of the government, that why it is wrong and what kind of long term repercussions this kind of amendment towards OBC reservation can bring about, to which like you can see that the next year he was made the UPSC member. So a lot of people said that, are you being rewarded because of following Congress and supporting it politically? To which he said that if opposing and maintaining one's intellectual integrity by hyphenating the problems in the decision making of the government is rewarding, then I don't mind it. But if you say that I ever compromised with my intellectual integrity, then really no. And even after becoming the member, I still remember in 2013, over two standpoints, he said that I do not approve of it intellectually, but holding the constitutional position, I'm not supposed to pass my personal remark publicly. That won't be ethically correct, because till the time you are holding a constitutional position, there is also an oath of secrecy that you are supposed to maintain at all times. So whether you have your personal or intellectual likes or dislikes pertaining to a situation, you are not supposed to make it public, abiding by the, like we can consider the abiding by the promise, and that applies to all government officials. Okay, so Ashmita, I said Dr. Pushottam Agarwal. Okay, similarly, all of you can remember, I had just 2 days back or so, I discussed about this IS officer Abhishek Singh, who disclosed the special duty that he was provided by Election Commission in Gujarat. That disclosure was loss of professional integrity, because a person, yes, he was made the observer. So you are not supposed to disclose the special designation or any kind of such possibility which is created by you, and when it is under the oath of secrecy and maintaining anonymity. Okay, so that is loss of professional integrity. So you have a lot of examples. Just remember one thing. Yes, even Muhammad Arif Khan during Rajiv Gandhi's government, his standpoint associated with, we can consider the Shah Bano case, associated with the case of infamous case of triple talaq, and the decision taken by the Rajiv Gandhi government, which was severely to be criticized, because separation of power was somewhere put under threat by the government stance to overrule the decision taken by the Supreme Court by passing a bill. So that's something which all of you need to connect with respect to this given dimension. Okay, so you can just recall a lot of examples of loss of professional integrity. Similarly, sometimes people are coerced to compromise with their intellectual integrity. All right, so please understand one more thing. Though I am discussing this dimension, that intellectual integrity doesn't mean doesn't mean that a person would be stubborn, that a person would be stubborn, stubborn, um, full stop. Life is not about, and it's very important, remember it at all times. Life is not about achievement of truth, achievement of truth. Rather, it's about, it's about pursuit of truth, pursuit of truth. Okay, I hope you'll reflect upon this statement, and this statement shall nourish you at several levels, right? When you are reflecting upon this given statement. So remember, we never achieve absolute truth. We only falsify the present truth. Like, for example, the present truth mean earlier the truth was, like people said, the earth is flat. So that truth was negated or falsified. And on the basis of the logic, we created a new version of the truth, right? So going stubborn is not necessary. I mean, if you are maintaining intellectual integrity, it is possible that when you realize that you are going wrong or you may be wrong, you should always have the humility to accept that maybe you're not informed, or maybe after some time when you realize that when you went wrong, you have the humility to accept that you went wrong, and you are open to change your opinion. It can be in various stances, like Ram Jethmalani. in 2014, he like 13, I remember, not 14, 13, he like through and through supported the BJP government, and he through and through supported Mr. Narendra Modi. He said that I really want to see this man in power, and he is going to be such an amazing prime minister, such an amazing leader. But over 4 years of governance, when he felt that there were a lot of ideals that were lost, a lot of things that should not have been passed or done that were done, so under his leadership, then in 2018, the same man, Ram Jethmalani, he made a public statement that his observations and opinions were at certain levels incorrect, and he like has a negative opinion for the present situation. So does it mean that he lost like his intellectual integrity? No, not really. It means that if any person, going by rhyme or reason, understanding the logic, feels that the person's previous opinion was incorrect, or it was not sufficient enough, it was not well reflected, and after accepting that my previous opinion was not very well reflected, when the person is changing the opinion, that is something which is associated with, we can consider profession sorry intellectual integrity. And please remember, when I give you an array of examples, it's not just one example that I give you. There is dual purpose. First purpose is like you can pick the apolitical examples and keep it for your exam. And then I give you some general awareness and general examples coming from the larger public scenario as well. And the purpose of giving those general examples is to develop a balanced stance in you, so that you realize that what's happening in and around you is so thoroughly connected to the ethics paper, so that you develop a logical thinking in the journey, so that you develop a wholesome reflection in the journey, not go very, I would say, methodically and academically only about it. You see that it is a part and process of life. Okay, that's why I gave you the example of Ram Jethmalani, that I won't appreciate you quoting Ram Jethmalani, but what I imply to say is that, like, having a stubborn opinion does not mean having this intellectual integrity. Intellectual integrity is also in being open to learn afresh, open to revise your opinion afresh if you are going wrong, even for once. Okay, so probably I can give you some basic examples pertaining to the four virtues, okay, or four qualities of a person with intellectual integrity. Okay, so a person with intellectual integrity holds the qualities of first, intellectual humility. Intellectual humility, where you are ready to accept that maybe you went wrong and you are open to reconsider it. So this happened to Manmohan Singh ji and Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. So what happened that when Manmohan Singh was the finance minister, then Mr. Vajpayee, he raised a very caustic opinion, and methodically he criticized the finance minister for the LPG reforms, and he quoted with a lot of facts, future potential possibilities, that how things do hold the potential of going wrong, and there can be repercussions which the country may experience, or rigors it may experience. So he came up with a lot of facts and figures and potential possibilities. And then, the then finance minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, he reflected upon it, and after thorough reflection, he proposed to resign. And then Vajpayee ji reached out to him and he said that, my dear friend, what are you saying? I respect you thoroughly for your intellectual acumen. And I really respect your perspectives and your moves. And as it is expected in the parliament for maintaining good health of democracy, I'm supposed to I hyphenate or underline the potential challenges which a system may experience, the possibilities and problems which a system may experience. So don't take criticism so close to your heart that you are motivated to take resignation. It is only to give you an insight about what potential possibilities are there and what kind of changes are required. All right. So that's intellectual humility, whereby you're ready to reconsider the possibilities. You are humble, you are down to earth, you are open to consider the opinion of others, the criticism of others. Okay. Down to earth. Okay. You are open to be criticized, open to be criticized, criticized, ready to listen and learn from others, ready to listen and learn from others, right? So that's something which you can talk about when we are talking about intellectual humility. All right. Now, as all of you are able to understand or connect with this, the second subtopic related to this intellectual integrity, the quality that a person needs to have, is intellectual courage. Intellectual courage. So, what do we imply when we say intellectual courage? So, intellectual courage, when we say such people have the courage to face public opposition. So, such individuals can face public opposition. Okay. You are willing to face public opposition, um, but you are ready to stand for the justified logical standpoint which you have arrived at on the basis of logic. Means you are not taking standpoints on the basis of populism only to become popular or only to enjoy, we can say, acceptance and stardom. You are also ready that if you are logically correct, you shall follow that standpoint, you shall take that standpoint, even if it leads to invitation of criticism, even if it leads to any space or scope for, like, identification of the wrong that's happening in the society, and even if, like, it is not so popular opinion, but you, when you're motivated by intellectual integrity, you are able to have that intellectual courage to call a spade a spade. Okay. Now, third is intellectual autonomy. Intellectual autonomy. Intellectual autonomy is associated with, we can say, uh, we can consider that you're open to, sorry, open to listen to all, listen to all, but the final decision is taken by you. You are not dissuaded by others' opinions. So, but the final decision is taken by you. Means you don't, like, borrow others' decisions. You don't get influenced or coerced by others. There is autonomy. You are the person responsible for your decisions completely. You are not under pressure or coercion of others. Yes. Again, yes, Abraham Lincoln, when he was abolishing slavery, you can take that as an example. Again, you can also talk about intellectual empathy. Okay. Intellectual empathy. So, under the component of intellectual empathy, you can say that it is associated with looking into other people's viewpoints, looking into others' viewpoints, perspectives, others' viewpoints, perspectives. Um, we can also say feelings of others. Okay. So, looking into others' viewpoints, perspectives, or feelings of others before you, like, pass a judgment or before you frame an opinion. So, that's intellectual empathy. You are not jumping to a decision or you're not jumping to a thought process. You are considering the opinion of, others, you're considering the conditions of others, and then you are arriving at a thought process associated with what probably you could create. All right. So, along with this, I can also give you some set of, I would say, profound thoughts pertaining to integrity, which you can quote in your answer. So it's like integrity is the value of values, or you can say integrity is morality in action. Morality in action. You can also say, if you have integrity, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters, because all other virtues, all other like goodnesses follow along with integrity. Means if you're integrity, you're a person of honesty, you're a person of accountability, you are a transparent person, you'll be responsible, you will be dedicated to the services, because you are a person of integrity. It's like more like a master emotion, it's more like a master value. So if you're a person of integrity, you will follow all of it. That's why it is said that if you have integrity, nothing else matters, because if it is there, rest all will follow. But again, a similar statement is written that if you don't have integrity, nothing else matters. If you don't have integrity, okay, then nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. Because if you don't have integrity, then it doesn't matter, because you will be a person who will be corruptible, and even if you are talented, you will become a corrupt, evil person for the society. You will be harming the system rather than benefiting the masses. So your knowledge is not of wisdom, or your knowledge is not of great use in general speaking. All right. So I hope all of you are able to understand. Ma'am, please brief Abraham Lincoln and slavery abolition in relation to intellectual autonomy. Well, you can consider this dimension Mangalam when you follow that when the abolition of slavery was being proposed. So there was a rebellion that was going on, and it was not supported by all leaders that slavery should be completely abolished. Lincoln was under the pressure that either he has to save the state and the rights of the people, the masses, even if for that he has to abolish slavery, or whether he'll have to continue with slavery. So when he was under that like a rigor, he chose to stick by two ideals. First, what is in the larger interest of the people, and what is in the larger interest of the like continuity of the state. Okay. And he saw that in both the situations, abolition of slavery would be beneficial, because majority of the people who are undergoing the rigor are slaves, and also they have a sizable population, and there is a potential threat of rebellion, more like a civil war like situation. So for that, he decided that abolishing the law of slavery, even though a lot of members, council members were against his decision, still he chose to stick to that decision, and he abolished slavery. And that was associated with the fact that he listened to everybody, but he chose what is suitable for the situation. And that is also a mark of great leadership, whereby you're open to listen to all, but you do as per the given dimension. Okay, the last quotation, as I have given this dimension, Aniket, it is written that if you have integrity, nothing else matters. Because if you have integrity, a lot of virtues will follow. If you have integrity, means you'll be an honest person, you'll be a responsible officer, accountable officer, you will exercise transparency, you will not be biased because you're a person of integrity, so you'll not be biased. You will exercise tolerance, right? Because you are a person of integrity, so you'll not let human rights violation occur. So you'll exercise tolerance, you'll exercise rule of law, law and order, abiding by the law, all that stuff. So if you are a person of integrity, nothing else matters, because just by being a person of integrity, all other virtuous values and conditions for good governance follows. That's what it implies. The second part of the sentence says that if there is no integrity, if you don't have integrity, nothing else matters. So if you don't have integrity, then what will happen? If you don't have integrity but you have very high level of efficiency, you will become a very corrupt and evil officer. Okay, so even if like you have a lot of knowledge, but if there is low level of integrity, you can be harmful for the system, you can be harmful for the people. Okay, so if integrity is not there, nothing else matters. So even if you are very bright, you have passed out from IIT or IIM, or you have been a gold medalist at the college or university, or you have been all India topper in IAS exam, nothing matters. If you are not a person of integrity, then nothing matters. No amount of achievement, no amount of gold medal, no amount of previous achievements matter. Okay, so if you don't have integrity, nothing else matters, because the repercussions will be borne by the society. All right, so is it good to have a non-judgmental nature? Yes, because that is how you are able to maintain, we can say, openness to receive from others. You don't have biased opinion, or you don't judge others in that given situation. Can we say integrity leads to better objectivity? Yes. When there is integrity, then you look facts of the case, you look into merits of the situation before deciding, rather than favoritism, rather than any kind of biased possibility. Yes, US was dominated by feuds beyond doubt, especially in the southern part, where it was gripped with slavery. And all the facts of the case that you are sharing, that Lincoln came up with the idea of, well, this sentence, Lincoln came up with the idea of abolishing. He did not come up with the idea of abolishing. I beg to differ with respect to this, Shubha. You will read, when you actually read American history in greater detail, you realize that even Lincoln has written in his autobiography that it was not I who arrived at the idea that we should do away with the law of slavery. It is just that I was fearing a civil war like situation, a law and order disruption, and I had to come up with a solution, any kind of solution which maintains law and order, which preserves the possibility of power, and which leads to the possibility of suppression of any form of revolt. Okay, so that was something which encouraged. Okay, so what is a virtue? How is it different from morals? Well, oh God, SM is just supportive. Meanwhile, because now I'm like really like losing the possibility of taking this given subsegment now, because these topics have been discussed in the second session very thoroughly, and that's why. So integrity is morality in action. Yes, integrity is morality in action, because what is integrity? Remember the definition, Devansh. I said that integrity is what? Integrity is associated with, we can say, maintaining, we can say, consistency in your thought, speech, and action. So if I am saying, Devansh, that integrity is morality in action, what is morality? Our sense of right and wrong. So our own sense of right and wrong is not only at the thought level, it is not only at the speech level that we are speaking goody good things, it is also at action level. That's why integrity is morality in action. Okay, Devansh, I hope that's clear. Yes, thank you for reminding that, Labdhi. Artistic integrity was something that was left. So artistic integrity, when we are talking about it, it is like not exercising plagiarism at any level, not exercising plagiarism. What is plagiarism? Plagiarism is copying someone else's work, even when you don't have the intellectual property rights for it, or you don't have the patent, or you don't have, like, the intellectual permission for it. It can be anything. It can be a PhD thesis. It can be the formulae of a medicine. It can be the formulae of maybe a bomb. It can be a formulae, or it can be, we can say, poetry, a piece of literature. It can be a song. It can be a script. It can be a, we can say, lyrics. Anything. So artistic integrity. And when we are talking about art, I imply to say, I bomb क्यों बोल दिया, तो science से connect हो गया. When I speak of artistic liberty or integrity, I imply to say material and non-material aspects of our human existence. Material aspect like pottery, painting, like clothes, anything of that sort, anything which is material in nature. And non-material artistic integrity will be associated with song, dance, theme of a play. It can be associated with your intellectual orientation to a PhD thesis. Okay, all of it. So that will be associated with artistic integrity. When you're not copying, when you're not like copying without the permission, or without manipulating the core idea. Okay, so you're not copying the other person, you're not manipulating the core idea of another person in your own words. So you are maintaining higher level of intellectual uprightness and creativity. A lot of people copy Payal. I mean, some like people copy the tunes of songs, some copy the like lyrics of the song, some copy people copy the like entire script. What not happens? So that's also there. Yes, having a creative, innovative mind is what is put to test when we speak of innovation. Okay, so thought of context, realism, or ethics. Okay, आउट ऑफ कॉन्टेक्स्ट उसको जरा देखो ना जरा ऐसे. Now, with respect to it, as we are reflecting about upon integrity in public services, so integrity in public services, and this is there. Arre, intel, integrity in public services, didn't I discuss? Oh, acha, acha, haan, right. I had discussed about intellectual integrity. Okay, now, so with respect to this, as we are substantiating upon integrity in public services, you know why my bulb is like flickering? The reason is like, uh, why you write too much? Why don't all this not added in PPT? No, Priyanka, it is not here in the PPT. See, I mean, getting it typed is so easy, and there are so many pages which are typed. I mean, because you are raising this context, you will see a lot of, see this, a lot of context is typed, which I don't want to write. How to inculcate integrity? Areas where some thought provoking possibilities have to be created. Okay, like how is integrity different from honesty? This is a factual segment, you can read and understand. Okay, so this is something which is given for your homework, and every day I give you something to read for homework. So leave the art of teaching to me. I only keep those things on the slide where I have to make you think, reflect as I'm asking questions, raising questions, or writing down the cue points. That is the reason why everything is not on the slide. There are keywords written, and it is left for me to draw diagrams. Like for here, I have to draw a diagram. If you want to see, you can see this. So it's like integrity, efficiency, and corruption. And we need to discuss the three segments pertaining to it. So I will make you think. So wherever as a teacher I have to make you think, I'm not supposed to get all the text typed on the this thing. It is not thought provoking. It is not motivating you to think out of box, come up with your examples, connect with previous chapters and examples. That will not happen. All right, Priyanka. And next time you can leave the creative freedom to me, that how I should like conduct it, because this is the logic. I understand that this was out of sheer love and concern, that you thought that this is so much of workload, why is ma'am writing so much on the board. So out of love and concern you raised this, that why not everything is typed. But typing will cull creativity which can be there in a lecture whereby students are participating and you are creating, you are thinking of examples, and that's how you can, like, make the possibility of new dimensions, new examples, new possibilities articulate in a session. That's the reason. All right. Now, so Professional and intellectual are a bit similar. No, professional is associated with your profession. It can be associated with a doctor, it can be associated with an engineer, it can be associated with civil servants. Okay. So it can be associated with scientists, it can be associated with prime minister. That's why I gave you the example of Lal Bahadur Shastri, this Dr. Manmohan Singh, M. Vishweshwaraya. Remember all that? So professional is associated with profession, Sushmit, and intellectual is associated with your intellectual acumen. Not every profession may be associated with intellectual aspect. It can be associated with any component, right? So I hope you are able to understand that, right? You don't have to write definition per se. Just remember that professional is associated with profession, and intellectual is associated with your, like we can consider intellectual acumen or orientation with the work. That's why I said intellectual integrity is at four levels. Intellectual autonomy, if you remember all that, the 4 points which I discussed. So just connect it and just substantiate it accordingly, right? Now, so with respect to this, I'm really like, like waiting for the weekend more than all of you. Like I'm really waiting for tomorrow and day after tomorrow so that I can probably sleep properly and get some things fixed at home. And so that's also there, because it's like something which was really taxing. Yesterday, my professor called me up when I like was in the class. I received his call, I picked the call, and I kept teaching. So he heard, and on the way the connection keeps snapping. So as I reached home at 9:40, I gave him a call, and he kept elaborating, asking upon things, this and that. And then he asked, when is your class? Then I said that I have to get up at 4:15 to leave at 5. And then he was like, oh, then you're really getting late. He hung up at 10:30, and at 11 o'clock, like till 11 o'clock, parents calls, one or two other missed calls, having dinner at 11:15. And then I worked towards some other professional commitments associated with my optional subject and this and that. So, and some technical solutions that I was working on. So I slept at, I worked it till 1:30, slept at 2, got up at 4:30. So 2.5 hours of sleep. And I just kept saying that God, it's just today, help me and just hold me, that with utmost intellectual integrity I'm performing my job, and at all times I'm alert of what I'm speaking and what I'm explaining. So that's why I'm unable to crack a lot of jokes today. You must have sensed that I'm just going on explaining the concept with a lot of examples, but the possibility of cracking jokes is not there today. That space where all of you keep doing ha 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 ha, that is missing. And the reason is this: I'm just alert to pass the concepts correctly. And you won't believe, I'm waiting that when is it 8:30 and I can just run to go to sleep and manage things. Okay, so that's also there. Yes, yes, it's just that I got stuck up with this situation today. And I know that maybe in another 15 days, maybe a day or two may happen like this. Maybe I'm not very sure, but things are falling in place. And there are days, whenever mains exams comes, no, for students, then this thing happens, because there'll be main sessions also, clubbed with the optional, clubbed with other responsibilities. So every year, this season, July or August, or sometimes few days in July, few days in August, can be hectic. So entire year is relatively relaxed compared to these 2 months, because there are technical aspects, main students, then the students pertaining to main course. So a lot of things happen, and this will be taken up by you also. Don't think that I am some magic woman. You will do that when your mains exams will come. The day you all really write your mains exam, you'll see how your body stretches the limit. It can stretch the limit, and its performance, it can outperform. Remember the standard 10th board or 12th board, or a night before the graduation exam, like sleeping for 2 hours, 4 hours, and managing the entire syllabus, reading volumes of papers, 200 pages in a night, 500 pages in a night. So a week before, you are reading 100 pages, 70 pages, and then you 200 pages, then 500 pages, like it's like that. That's the true test of human potential. So my mains is this, your mains will also come. And the day you are writing the mains, you will remember that this is achievable, this is doable. What I'm doing is something pretty ordinary. Every once in a while, people who are stretched to perform, they do all this. Okay. And I told you it's mains, so it's mains for students, so it's mains for us. And when it is your mains exam, you'll realize you are walking an extra mile continuously. A topic that is dedication and commitment, which is there in the syllabus, which I will be elaborating on Monday, that is connected to this, what I'm saying. What is commitment? Commitment is fulfilling your targets. Like, okay, I will be studying for 9 hours or 8 hours. So that's commitment. Dedication is when after completing the 8 or 9 hours, whatever you have promised, you still keep slogging. You still keep slogging because you have your own mental targets, your own emotional targets. And that is not keeping you at ease. That is not something which is like letting you rest. And you are just doing it out of love. You are in a blissful state whereby you are just going on and on in terms of performance, where there is not stressed performance. There is, I would say, a free flowing fluid existence of performance. So that is how, even when 8 hours or 9 years hours of studies is over, you are reading a good book, you are taking down some keywords, you are brushing and you are recalling the constitution articles, you are bathing and you are thinking about something related to history, you are like having your lunch and you are thinking that, oh, that information I read, that was so amazing, that can also be paraphrased and incorporated in a essay topic if the topic is like this or like this or like this. So at all times you're living your preparation. That is dedication. So dedication comes when you have love for your work. And interestingly, in India, very few people are blessed to love their work. Majority of the people suffer from Monday blues. So that's something sad. So, like always, love your work, love your preparation. And I'm telling you, until and unless you become, any person becomes a professor, till that time, never ever a person gets the intellectual freedom to read so much at the expense of parents. Parents are sponsoring food, rest, comfort, books, everything. All you have to do is study, study, and study. The luxury to learn and grow better every day. I mean, that's so amazing in life. So, just I would say, take your best foot forward and prepare super well, because this is the most joyous journey of your life. And with experience, I'm telling you, at least I'm 2 decades senior to you. With experience, I'm telling you that life will not, because I've seen my friends undergo so much, and so many things happen to people my age, my seniors, super seniors, juniors. The moment you enter into job, whatever officer you become, like there will be so many rigors of life that you will miss this age, where you had no stress. All you had to do is eat, sleep, regulate your timetable, and study. I mean, this is the most easy and blissful state of your life. Even if you're struggling to understand a concept, understand Subbarao, struggle with some basic terms, memory, like revision, all these are struggles, I agree. But this is nothing compared to the blows of life, the kicks of life, which the real life challenges which unfold once you actually step into the real world, pertaining to job, pertaining to family. So enjoy and celebrate this joyous journey. You are blessed. You are amongst those very few students in India who is getting an opportunity to realize their dreams, who is getting an opportunity to have access to higher education. You know, whensoever you teach, you read the chapter of social justice. In social justice, there is a subtopic of education. In education, you will come across the gross enrollment ratio in higher education. In primary education, just before COVID 2019, Ministry of HRD said that gross enrollment in primary education was 98.5 at that time. After COVID, it depleted because of, you could see, online education, this and that. But anyway, 98.5. That further diminishes at standard 10th level to 79. And I'm sharing this because it is a part of your syllabus. This information is going to help you to reproduce. And then from that, it moves to, like standard 12th, it moves to 54 to 55%. And as it becomes higher education, means undergrad, it becomes 26%. Imagine the exam you are preparing for is above graduation level. So you are amongst the coveted, I would say 20%, and not every student is in that 20%, because a lot of student, despite doing undergrad, they are forced to take up a job, they are forced to take up some menial chore, they are forced to take up preparation of some other exam, because the family is not supporting, the conditions are not supporting. So you're one of those lucky few students who's getting an opportunity to learn and transform the possibilities, okay, of what you have achieved till now. So achievement test getting altered into aptitude test continually, okay. And if you realize the importance of this time, the virtuousness of this time, you can make the best out of it, okay. So celebrate this. There are so many individuals who would die to be in your shoes, okay. So respect and honor it, even though it is tedious. Respect and honor it. So that is there which I would inspire you with. Now, the only thing I regret is not passing jokes in the class today, because the moment I become little tired, I have a tendency to become very serious and very prim and proper sometimes. So I can sense that that's what has happened today. Now, so integrity in public services, when we are talking about this given dimension, I mean, Payal, you feel that your school life was enjoyable, great, most enjoyable, great. I mean, let you cross 2 decades of your life and you will remember every stage as joyous, including this preparation stage. You will miss all the hard work. There are students who, like, I have had students who have cleared the exam and, got selected, got posted 5 years, 7 years into services, coming back to Delhi, going to their little shanty rooms, which are 8 by 8, 10 by 10, and touching the walls and feeling nostalgic. Some of them like having tears rolling down their eyes and remembering the room with a lot of love, that this like dirt cheap room in such a shanty location with such like average infrastructure or below average infrastructure, but there are so many joyous memories, memories of struggle, memories of like crossing certain benchmarks in life, break through the ceilings which were created by society or by limitations of dictats that people said, oh, this is the limitation of your potential, breaking through all the ceilings and then being able to achieve who the person becomes. So all that is so mesmerizing and beautiful. So you'll realize, all of you, must be feeling that, oh, school days are better, college days are better. You'll remember every part of the journey as beautiful. No journey is ideal or picture perfect, but every journey has its own beauty, and it unfolds only once we have lived it. So that's what. Okay. Now, so integrity in civil services, when we are talking about it, it is associated with following the civil services code. The civil services code. All right. And you can also give merit to second ARC. So second ARC has given a specific meaning to it. Okay. Gave specific meaning to it. Meaning to it. So integrity is what? Integrity, it says that integrity is giving priority, integrity in civil services, okay, is giving priority to public interest, priority to public interest over private interest, public interest over private interest. So you're not making any personal favors and you are not trying to take any extra advantage of the position that you are holding. Okay. So that is also there, which you can understand. So in all official duties, you prioritize, in all official duties, public interest and welfare is prioritized. Public interest slash welfare is prioritized. Like, for example, I can share this with you. Like, why is it said that do not go and drink in a bar and dance in an open bar? What is the reason? You might, as I told you, you might know how to hold your pegs and quarters. But how about the youth who's seeing and getting inspired? Who'll go and tell their parents, if the IS officer can do, why can't I do? there can be people who can fall into drug addiction or alcoholism or other forms of drug abuse just because they got wrongly inspired by you, seeing you as a ideal, seeing you as a youth icon. Okay, so that's why you don't have to conduct any kind of act which sets a bad example for the society. At all times, consciously, unconsciously, you have to portray, you have to try to be the friend, philosopher, and guide of the larger society. Okay, so you have to constantly work upon the possibilities that what are the do's and don'ts which should at all times be taken care of, because of which the larger public interest is always maintained, public welfare is always considered in all actions, even my private actions that I take. Because if the public is watching or coming to know about it, even if my driver is watching, even if my domestic help or cook is watching, anyone, whosoever is able to see this, the person is getting inspired by the right set of example. Okay. Second, ARC is not very harsh for civil services, Shivam. It is, I would say, it is trying to balance power with responsibility. All right, Shivam, that's the better way to consider it to be. So, with respect to this, we can also like reflect upon this. In fact, I can give you one more example. When I was pursuing law, I still remember that there was this Buddha circuit. In Buddha circuit, this Formula One track was being built, and the first Formula One race was to be conducted. So Mayawati was the CM of UP, and she went to check, inspect whether everything is prim and proper, everything is done up well. So when Mayawati was inspecting that area, there was a picture which became very popular. So his personal secretary Mishra ji was also walking with her. Mishra ji was a senior IS officer and he was holding a handkerchief. It was nothing but Mayawati's handkerchief. She was suffering from cold, so she used to pick the kerchief casually, blow her nose, give it in his hand. Again, pick the kerchief, blow her nose, give it in his hand. Now, this is unbecoming of an IS officer. This is not setting the right example for future IS officers. This is not something which is expected from the, we can say, code of conduct from you. Okay. Miss Mayawati always used to, like, not always, but many a times in her decisions, she used to create something which looks down upon the officers and makes them like walk that extra mile, which was not required in the services. Like when she went for the public rally, so she used to once in a while ask any IS officer that, see, there is dust in my shoe, please come and dust my shoes. So many a times IS officers used to take out their handkerchief and dust her shoes also. Anyway, so she said to one of the IS officers, so she was like, yes, madam, I'll just get it fixed. He quickly told his PSO that go and just find out if there is any cobbler or any lower staff who is a part of the audience who is in this rally, and just call him immediately if he has got something to dust. So they got hold of like a cobbler, and he came with a dusting brush, and then he said, please dust the shoes of the CM. And the shoes were immediately dusted, polished on the like podium, and like on the, we can say, the stage near the podium, and then the person was sent back. Now that's the conduct of an IS officer. You should know what you are supposed to do and which work can be delegated as per the suitability of the profession of the other person. Okay, so when you are aware of this given dimension, it is then that you are able to maintain integrity at all times, not only for self but also the larger society, the trust that you build in the society, the, we can say, the impact that you create for the society, the faith that you build for the society, for your junior officers, for the people, the kind of respect that should be there. So always remember, one should not show a behavior a behavior which is akin to unbecoming, which is akin to unbecoming of, akin means similar. Okay, akin means similar to, unbecoming of an IS ऑफिसर, और यू कैन कंसिडर यहाँ पे सिविल सर्वेंट कर देती हूँ, ठीक है, अनबिकमिंग ऑफ अ सिविल servant. All right? Just remember this bit. This is like the most important thing. Fine, that's integrity. Integrity in public services. So at all times, you have to maintain that in public office, in public place, in places where you are going to inaugurate things, meet people, greet people, or you are following the ministers, whatever they are. Okay. So, with respect to this, you have to follow the hierarchy, Anil. Even if you do not appreciate a lot of politicians, but you have to respect the hierarchy. You have to follow the order. You have to respect that. Otherwise, you have to join politics. If you want to climb up the hierarchy, join politics. And that is also a way to bring about meaningful difference. All right. So, with respect to this, again, you can, as I was drawing this diagram of integrity and efficiency and corruption. So, you can think of the correlation first between efficiency and corruption. So, when we are talking about this dimension of efficiency and corruption, the correlation between it, can efficiency and corruption go hand in hand? So, like, let us say there is a PWD officer, okay, and the PWD officer gets a loan sanctioned of 1 crore rupees, and out of which, because this person was academically very bright during his graduation and post graduation as an engineer or whatever, so this person used 70 lakh rupees and got the entire project done, successfully completed and qualitatively completed. Qualitatively the project got concluded or completed. All right, now let us consider that this person realized that, oh, I'm saving 30 lakh rupees of the government. So it is because of my acumen or my merit, because the government had calculated 1 crore. But I'm saving the government from spending like 30 lakh rupees. So how about I pocket 10 lakh rupees and again give 20 lakh back. So I'm anyway returning the money. I'm just taking 10 lakh back as a little reward for myself. According to you, is it correct? So you'll be like, no, ma'am, it is not. It is pertaining to corruption. Agreed. So there is efficiency, but despite efficiency being there, if there is corruption, then what will happen? If there is efficiency along with corruption, then definitely it is going to set a bad example. This is what you will suggest. Yeah. So if there is high level of efficiency along with corruption, if there is high level of corruption as well, there can be a lot of challenges that can emerge. So what are the challenges? First challenge is, like, we can consider, it can create a domino effect. Domino effect means a chain reaction. First you did it, then your junior did it, then the further junior did it. So it will start growing like a big ball of snow, and slowly and steadily it will engulf the entire system. Okay. So it can create a domino effect. That's there. Okay. Second thing which you can connect is associated with, we can consider that it can be addictive. Okay. So efficiency, when high level of efficiency is there but corruption is there, so we all can connect that it can be highly addictive. Addictive means, first you are taking, like, the possibility of, we can say, you are taking 10 lakh rupees bribe. Next time you'll be like, why not take 15, why not take 20? So efficiency with respect to corruption can be associated with an addictive possibility when we are talking about it. So domino effect is the first point, addictive is the second point when we are discussing about it. And further we can also connect it with, like, let us say, the third dimension, which is, like, the efficiency over long term will go down. Efficiency may go down in the absence of reward, in the absence of hope for reward. Hope for reward. So if a person is feeling that, oh my god, I may not get, like, some scope or space for creating corruption or getting some extra buck, the person will lose the motivation to work. Okay. So if the loss of motivation is there, so loss of motivation to work, if it is there, then what will happen? So with loss of motivation to work, efficiency definitely will go down in the long run, right? Fourth, you can also talk about the possibility of, like, let's say, so domino effect is there, which you can also connect it with demonstration effect. Demonstration effect. You can say it can destroy the work culture. Okay, so destroy the work culture. It can destroy the work culture. You can remember the British, isn't it? The East India Company, when we are speaking of them, they were highly corrupt. And they allowed corruption in the system because they felt that the officers will get some kind of, I would say, sweet opportunity. They will feel that just by being corrupt, they are able to, when they are traveling to a country like India, which is festered with like mosquitoes, and there is so much of heat, there is so much of rigor, traveling all the way from away from Britain, so they will get something extra to earn that will act as a motivation. But what was the repercussion of it? Corruption filtered down so severely in the system that they had to come up with so many legal reforms. If you remember, there was Pitt's India Act, there was regulation of this 1873 Act. You can also think of the possibility of that board of directors act. You can remember how Robert Clive, okay, Robert Clive committed suicide. You can think of Warren Hastings, he was put under trial. So you can think of all those possibilities that had happened when we are connecting it with corruption and efficiency. So Britishers allowed corruption because they felt that it will improve efficiency, it will keep motivated. But it's not correct. It does not lead to efficiency. In the long run, it leads to a domino effect. It leads to spiraling down of efficiency. In the long run, what will happen? Efficiency will go down. Okay, if the corruption is high, it is not going to sustain the possibility. All right. I hope all of you are understanding this. In the similar manner, there is this another subsegment associated with, we can say, integrity and efficiency. Integrity and efficiency. So the correlationship between integrity and efficiency, this aspect, as well as integrity and corruption, this aspect, to be continued in the next session. All right, so Monday we will be continuing with this, that how integrity is connected to efficiency and how integrity is connected to corruption. This diagram can be drawn in the exam, and along with drawing this diagram, you can explain it. So Monday I'll give you a brief recap, verbal recap of this, that is integrity and corruption. And as you will, people will be joining the session, and then I'll explain integrity and efficiency and integrity and corruption. And that is how we will move to another topic of foundational values in civil services, that is dedication. All right. So this is what Japanese work culture.